Japan does not mess around. Calling it a cheater bloodbath would be an understatement because we have never seen anything like this at a Pokemon event, let alone Pokemon Worlds. We got disqualifications, we got hacked Pokemon removed, we got more disqualifications. Things are getting insane. Please leave a like on this video, comment your joy down below, and share with everyone you know. We need the biggest algorithm push we have ever seen on the Verlicified channel. Twitter, Facebook, Discord groups, everywhere, make sure the story is known about what is happening at Worlds. Let's start off with Brady Smith. So this guy actually got some attention recently because Wolf accused him of stealing the nationals. It was stupid. There was just stupid drama about Pokemon because Wolf's a prima donna and the community is toxic. Also, this guy says he helps Pokemon players learn and improve at VGC through coaching, community, and a course. Gets DQ'd for having hacked Pokemon. Half my team was modified gen. I didn't have Legends Arceus to get the Landorus. Didn't have copy of Sword and Shield to get Urshifu. It's not even like the Zero IV Paradox Pokemon or Enamorus that's a problem. They can't even get simple legendary Pokemon legitimately. You don't need the zero attack, zero speed Urshifu. Dude can't even get a legitimate, not even legitimate, a legal Urshifu. There is no such thing as a legal Gendamon. There is no such thing as legal cheating with legal hacks. This dude couldn't even get an Urshifu from the game. I tried trading for the Pokemon with a reputable trader. As we learned from WolfeyVGC being a confirmed cheater, that don't happen. Gotta bring up this tweet because every time I talk about WolfeyVGC being a confirmed cheater, there's always morons out there calling me a liar. But it's really something when the most popular Pokemon VGC player can't even get a legal Galarian Moltres. Moltres was an impossible hack because the memory data showed it being caught in a place where it can't be caught. Okay, so yeah, there's no reputable traders inside of Pokemon VGC. Here's the paste I was going to use. Sorry, y'all, I'll do better next time. Time to enjoy my time in Japan. What a loser. Trying to spin this round. Gonna enjoy Japan when you got caught and disqualified for being a cheater. I guess the weirdest part in all of this is that they waited until the World Championship Series to start upping their game. It's called a honeypot. Yeah, it probably could have busted a lot of people at Nationals and some other regional events, but if you're trying to catch as many cheaters as possible, you don't get them all scared right before the big event. You get them all together with their guard down, and then you go on a massive disqualification wave. I hope this is such a massive problem that there's actually serious bans. That's just my hopium, but we already got more than we could have asked for because going into Worlds, you could have lied to yourself as much as you wanted about, well, it's in Japan. It's in Japan. They're going to crack it down. They're going to start catching people. With everything going up, yeah, it is weird that there weren't disqualifications and bans up until this point, except for the Korean players that got caught and banned, which probably also tipped off the Pokemon community, or not community, Pokemon company to how big the cheating problem is. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I wish it was consistent throughout the season. Yeah, so you would have known to not hack your Pokemon as poorly and get busted at Worlds. But at least we now have this consistently established. They're finally not messing around. Get your mons legit. Also, this kind of goes into my theory that the Pokemon Company International is covering for cheaters because if anything gets out about Wolf Glick being a cheater, also almost all of the regional champions being confirmed cheaters as well, then your entire scene falls apart, even though VGC is already dead because of all the cheating. So you just have like this toxic community of people that are so entitled they think cheating is okay and they try to dismiss it even when they finally get banned for cheating. Japan does not play around. They have laws against console hacking and game modification, and if you get caught cheating at a Pokemon tournament, yeah, you're disqualified, and if you won prize money, you have to return that prize money. So, and all like the rewards and stuff. So yeah, like, maybe it's just because it was happening in Japan, and there's an insane amount of corruption that I've been covering for the last decade of Pokemon VGC. They are disqualifying a lot, aren't they? I see a lot of cross names in juniors and senior division as well. Verlicified always right. People get mad at me when I point this out, like, yeah, it's all hacking and cheating in junior and senior division because having perfect shiny Pokemon is not going to be something a child is going to be able to accomplish. And you saw that a lot And again, you still see that happening quite a bit as well. This could also be the way the format works, because trying to decipher who is getting disqualified and who is like just going through natural tournament progression is a little bit of a riddle. We have this guy, Calvin Foster, 4-1, getting taken out. 5th place, World Championships 2022, Paris Regional Champion. Nope, just a cheater. So once again, another regional champion caught cheating. We can also scroll down and we can see Francesco just tweeted out disqualified from Worlds on 3-1. And then we got this jerk. Sorry to hear, brother, you're not alone. Let me know if you want to hang out. The solidarity of cheating in Pokemon VGC. There's also like just replies of people that are upset that cheaters are getting caught in Pokemon Worlds after getting away with it for so long. But yeah, another thing is like, okay, so 5 wins get you into day 2. So if you go 5-0 or if you get 5 wins, then you are removed from the tournament, which is what this crossout means. It could be drop, disqualification, or advancement into day 2. So that's why I mean there's like a little bit of a riddle to unwrap here. You can find names like Brendan Zhang, little brother of former VGC cheater Cybertron, but with this, like 1-4 could also be a drop and not a disqualification. Not a lot of drops at 1-4, so maybe people are just like there because it seems like a big Pokemon convention. But also you can see like in previous rounds, once you get that 3rd loss, you're not going to day 2, your Pokemon Worlds is over, so there's going to be a lot of drops there. So a good amount of 0-3 drops just across. Maybe some of them actually had like cheated Pokemon, but it gets weird to tell, and then you have to just kind of go off of people's own stories, or just kind of like sifting through the players in the middle of the pack that are like, oh yeah, you had no reason to drop or no reason to like be removed from the tournament except for cheating. But overall, the takeaway from the Japanese Pokemon World Championship is they're disqualifying a lot of players. And then we just got some weirdness. Do you know what gave them away? Or did the judges just say they were ginned and disqualified from there? They didn't give me specifics. The half of my team I got legit, of course. Bro, again, it's this arrogance. It's this just completely scumbag behavior of how they, like what happens even when they're caught. But the other 3 I traded for did not. That's unfortunate, man. So wow, the dude that made a thread defending cheating in Pokemon VGC got caught cheating. Who could have guessed? Also just garbage. First, for clarity, my aim is strictly to impartially shed light on why ginning is such a common phenomenon in competitive Pokemon, my interest in informing the community as an insider who knows how the competitive scene generally operates. Well, it's not impartial because you're actually a cheater yourself, and this part is also pretty crazy because everyone is holding each other hostage. You can't oust a cheater because you're cheating yourself. And this just keeps on going on and it gets upsetting, so let's go back to cheaters getting banned. How'd they know what happened? Why is this person so upset and distraught over a cheater getting caught? Oh, that's right, because they all cheat. To be honest, I don't know. I knew their hack check was going to be super good going into here. Well, if you knew the hack check was going to be super good, then why are you calling it the weirdest part of what's going on? But also, yeah, a lot of people on edge. So, you know, cheaters might have like been like extra super amazing mega safe to not get caught. It's kind of weird. And I guess even the competitors were like, oh man, Japan probably not going to play around. Hence why I got as much of my team legit as I could. I legit had no other option for my Legends though. I should have just bought Legends Arceus. It's insane you're expected to have copies of multiple games to be able to get the Pokemon you need. I mean, that's what Pokemon Home is for. If you just played Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can get the Legends that way. You're allowed to use transfer Pokemon, and legendary Pokemon have been made available quite a lot. And also, I thought Pokemon Legends was like the best Pokemon game ever that every Pokemon fan needed to play. Turns out that was all just for show. No one played it, and now they're scrambling for legendaries, and they're just hacking them in anyways. Then we just have some weird responses. How many other people got disqualified for ginning? Share the rental code, and we can tell you what went wrong. And then, oh, like, look at this. We got someone that's like, oh yeah, I can put your team into my PK Hex and then find out what you did wrong. Enjoy Japan, cheater! VGC is already inaccessible. Can't believe how difficult they make the game for people to be able to properly play, even though it's as accessible as it's ever been. And that's even an argument that cheaters use to defend cheating inside of Pokemon, where it's like, well, hacking doesn't give an advantage because it's so fast to get legal Pokemon now inside the game. But then when it actually comes to tournament, they can't even spend a couple hours to make their team legit. Then you wonder like, oh yeah, that means like all the Generation 5 shiny legendary teams, they weren't RNG'd. They couldn't spend the 50, 60 hours to RNG a team. It's all just hacked in. The entire history. Wolfey included, Cybertron, Ray Rizzo, everyone. Sorry you got caught cheating. You did nothing wrong. They shouldn't care even though it's in the rules. Bro, it's just wild. It's just unbelievable. It gets deeper with this guy. Sorry to hear this news. I got name scratched. Was about to DM you to see what happened. I already had this guy blocked. Turns out I blocked a cheater. Rule is by always right. Easy. This also goes into the weirdness of like sifting out who got disqualified and who just kind of dropped or something. Because if you're 0-2, get scratched, could look like a drop, but also just someone getting caught cheating or getting caught cheating in earlier rounds and stuff. And then this is where we have some interesting allegations about, wow, the guy making a thread defending cheating is also a liar. A cheater being dishonest? Who could have ever guessed? And that's kind of like the whole thing about Pokemon VGC. My friend traded them. They were all caught and bred by him. Brady told me himself he used PK Hex to modify his Grimmsnarl, Lando, and Urshifu, which all came legitimately from my friend. We talked to Brady and he acknowledges he took a risk using PK Hex. So like they can't even go like that's another way you can like prove all this cheating and hacking with all the top players. Their game is not progressed enough to have the resources to change a Pokemon. You have mints. You have hyper training. You can all like the TMs. I guess it takes too long to go out, KO 3 Pokemon, get the resources, and craft the TM that you need. They have no resources on their game, which was also a really funny thing about Pokemon X and Y. When you're battling someone that has like a full shiny team, it's like Pokemon bred, 0. Battle points, 0. Pokemon caught, 12. You know, weird stuff like that, which also kind of like caught a lot of cheaters. And since we weren't as hard on the detection pack then, probably a lot of like historical cheaters go back into like some of the battles and like some of the stuff back then. You can be like, oh yeah, that dude was cheating all the time back in like Generation 6. But either way, like yeah, their games don't even have the ability to edit a Pokemon on the fly if they want to change their moveset or change their build the night before. He took the risk for lack of a better option at Worlds. It's especially important your Pokemon are optimal. Not having a copy of Legends Arceus or Sword and Shield on hand prevented him from getting those Pokemon himself, especially the Landorus and Urshifu. Yo, I thought I was tripping and that Landorus wasn't available inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC. You already need it to get the Urshifu. Now it is RNG with the Dynamax Adventures and stuff, but you had 3 years to get a legal Landorus into Pokemon Bank. Too much to ask for. Was 4-0 at Worlds, but they removed my Ursaluna since it was modified, and there it is. That is a big thing catching a lot of these players. Paradox Pokemon, especially Pokemon Legends Pokemon, needing 0 IVs in certain stats. So 0 speed on the Ursaluna, and then like 0 attack on the special attackers and stuff. So now this person's like trying to gain sympathy. 3-1 right now. Have to win 2 rounds with 5 Pokemon. Hope I can do it. Because yeah, when your hatched Pokemon gets caught, it gets removed from your team. But if you still have enough Pokemon to compete, e.g. 4 of the Pokemon you need, you're actually able to remain in. This is something I've disagreed with in the rules for a while because it used to not be this way. We have the classic illegally manipulated Pokemon, which is also why this is cheating. Use of external devices such as a mobile app to modify or create items or Pokemon in a player's battle team is expressly forbidden. Players found to have Pokemon or items that have been tampered with may receive a disqualification. It used to be will receive a disqualification, but then, oh man, that means we gotta ban Wolf, we gotta ban Cybertron, we gotta ban Ray Rizzo, we gotta ban everyone. Ooh, okay, yeah, and then they have like the hack check. And that's where we go into team infractions. In all cases, the offending in all cases. So like, yeah, you're not allowed to have a hacked Pokemon or a ginned Pokemon on your team for any reason. The offending Pokemon or held item should be prohibited from play and the appropriate penalty should be applied. If this results in a player having fewer than 4 usable Pokemon remaining on their team, it's escalated to team error severe, and that is going to be disqualification. Player has fewer usable Pokemon remaining than the permitted minimum team size. So that's what's getting most of these players, which is why he said, oh man, 3 of my Pokemon. Half the team means he only has 3 left, gone, which is also crazy because that means you almost have to have a full team of hatched Pokemon to get disqualified from the event. And it's showing that players are also just cheating non-stop, but they're not getting disqualified yet. I wonder if this is actually such a big thing to where it's like everyone that had like a Pokemon removed should be disqualified because that was the old Pokemon rules. And as you can see, it's just a hackfest right now. There's no integrity in VGC, and this is why VGC is dead. So we don't even know how many people are actually cheating at this event with 1 to 2 hacked Pokemon, or the people that just have like more sophisticated hacks than this hack check that's been going on. Oh, it's gonna get real wild because the individual competitors are absolutely not sharing rental teams, but the Pokemon company might, depending on like the placements and stuff. So that could get people caught, like what we saw with Wolf Glick. And yeah, this is just gonna be like the least rental team Pokemon event in history because everyone is cheating at Worlds. Oh man. Oh, it's only gonna get crazier from here, guys. Oh, it's so good. I saw this Realistify right now, but that was exactly the face I made when I heard about this news, so just truth. It's gonna be a long weekend. I hope you guys are ready. So my last video showed some of the cheaters that got caught and disqualified from the Pokemon World Championship, and I was going over some of the replies, and I realized, wait, I'm on my main account, so I've already blocked half the people, or they've already blocked me, so we're not even getting into the good stuff about how people are responding to cheaters rightfully getting disqualified from the Pokemon World Championship. We already had this. Brady Smith, recently in some drama with Wolf Glick, made a thread defending cheating for Pokemon VGC, gets disqualified himself, and now there's solidarity. Sorry to hear about that, brother. You're not alone in getting disqualified. Let's hang out. Disgusting. So that's what this video is going to be about, reacting to the Pokemon VGC community melting down for being held accountable for cheating. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below, but more importantly, if you missed my first video about this, go and watch it. If you did not share that video, go back and share it, because this is huge. Also, people just unable to cope. No way! What happened? Hack check? Also, the response to people applauding cheaters getting rightfully banned is, are you serious or are you trolling? That is how toxic and unsalvageable the Pokemon VGC community has become. So why did you get disqualified? From what I've seen, they are hack checking Pokemon at Worlds and nobody was informed ahead of time. Yes, we are going to inform the people breaking rules that we will be checking if they are breaking rules ahead of time so they can actually prepare for it. That's just how deranged the Pokemon community has gotten. Imagine getting DQ'd because their in-game hack check can't stop hacked Pokemon from being traded. How many people have been disqualified unfairly today? It's not unfair, it's in the rules. You're responsible for all the Pokemon that you use, regardless if they were traded for or not. They just can't cope that all the cheating in Pokemon VGC is finally getting punished. We had all the top players in the Korean Championship. We have first place from countless regionals. We also have all the top players from countless regionals as well. And then the response is, it's unfair. It should be on the Pokemon Company to employ the same hack checker in-game as they are using at Worlds. Why? So it can just get data mined and reverse engineered, and then people can make sure that their hacked Pokemon get through the hack check? No, that's like double nonsense. I don't get it. Now, this is maybe the most interesting tweet to come out of Pokemon Worlds because it shows how much cheating is going on. Most of the players have hacked Pokemon. This guy had a hacked Ursaluna, and it was removed, which gave him a game loss, which is how the penalty guidelines work, and it's unfortunate because there's so much hacking in Pokemon VGC that if they ban players for having a hacked Pokemon like they should, then there would just be no scene whatsoever. So, in all cases, offending Pokemon should be prohibited from play, and the appropriate penalty should be applied. If this results in a player having fewer than 4 usable Pokemon, the infraction is escalated to severe. And if 3 or more Pokemon are found in this way, that is a disqualification because the player has fewer usable Pokemon remaining than permitted for the minimum team size. So the players, the many players that are getting disqualified from Pokemon Worlds just have mostly hacked teams or completely hacked teams. However, the players that have just 1 or 2 hacked Pokemon, they're having those Pokemon caught and removed, and they are just getting by. So that's what I mean, like, it's just such a cheating epidemic, and there's so much corruption around Pokemon VGC to allow for this to be the case. And a lot of people, instead of getting mad at the cheaters, they're getting mad at the rules, which have always existed and are completely fair and reasonable. So if I'm not wrong, they're making sure you must have Pokemon Legends Arceus and forcing you to breed 0 IV Speed Ursaluna. I don't know what's going on with the hat check, but it's carnage. And that's like a lot of the reports coming from Pokemon Worlds. A lot of players are getting just hard disqualified. A lot of people having Pokemon removed in their teams. It's just a complete cheat fest. And then we can see what else is going on from previous champions and confirmed cheaters like Santino. Regardless of how you feel about ginning, the fact you need copies of multiple games to have easy, legitimate access to relevant Pokemon in the current competitive metagame is lame. No, not regardless of how you feel about ginning. And it's also not ginning, it's hacking, it's cheating. Stop using these fake weasel words to get around the fact that's cheating. There is no such thing as a legal gen Pokemon, no such thing as a legal hacked Pokemon. All ginning is hacking. It's not lame to follow the rules. It's also really weird because I said this in my last video, Pokemon Legends Arceus was supposed to be the best Pokemon game ever that everyone loves, that Game Freak needed to carry on with because it's just so good, yet people actually can't complete it and play it and then get the Pokemon to transfer into Pokemon Home, which has been a part of the Pokemon ecosystem for years now, even going back to Pokemon Bank for a decade. So that's weird. Like, see, that's the thing. These cheaters, they don't have any game time on any of their games. They don't have anything built out through Pokemon Home. They don't have any resources to train their Pokemon legally. And then they get upset when the rules finally apply, even though if you can't follow the rules, you have no right to play. Cheating is wrong. It's a basic standard fact that the Pokemon community cannot cope with. If you're spending hundreds of dollars to compete all season, you can spare $120 for 2 games. It's not that hard. Yeah, that's actually really fair, especially when compared to the TCG and their like format rotations and stuff. But also, you should have already bought the Pokemon games if you're just an active Pokemon fan that wants to compete in the competitive scene. So it's not like you're going out of your way for anything. This goes beyond Worlds. It's completely unnecessary. Yeah, the cheater getting upset. So everything looks good on Santino's team, besides the Tornadus. So, Santino used a hacked Pokemon for the Invitational, which makes it worth noting that Santino is the first Pokemon Players' Cup champion. This got him an invite to the Invitational event where he cheated, and he also won first place there. Wow, almost like cheating gives a massive advantage, and the people defending cheating are cheating themselves. Also, this is another weird thing. People are only making it about Pokemon Legends Arceus, but you could get it in Pokemon Sword and Shield Max Layer. And you had to have Pokemon Sword and Shield to compete, which Santino and many of these other players did, and the DLC isn't that much of a cost on top of it, and also needed to get other competitive Pokemon. So again, these people just don't play the game. They just hack all the Pokemon in. I agree with you 100%. Another cheater found. If you are going to include rare Pokemon format, you need to have at least one of them obtainable in every game. It's already obtainable in more than enough games, and again, that's why Pokemon Home exists, and you can use transfer Pokemon. I couldn't agree more. If new Pokemon are allowed when a new regulation is announced, they should schedule in-game events to allow everyone to get those Pokemon legally. You're lying. It's already been shown through all these cheaters getting caught that they don't have any game progression to even get to that point. Also, if they don't get the 0 speed or 0 attack on the Pokemon they want, then they're just going to cheat it in or modify it anyways. I feel like 99% of the people that enjoy Pokemon as an overall franchise would be at that point where it isn't very hard to accomplish. Now, it's not like you need to love the franchise to compete, but we're talking about preparing one team for Worlds. Training is easier than ever, yet more people are cheating and getting caught cheating than ever. I hate ginning with a passion, but... well, that already throws out your argument. You're lying once again. Yeah, the barrier to entry sometimes makes me just as furious. No, if you're against cheating, then you're against cheating. And then back to Brady, who kind of kicked off the other video I talked about. We can see how those replies are going. Also, wow, that's a lot of quote tweets, because he was kind of one of the earlier casualties in this one, and then people started catching on like, oh, it's just over. So no matter your stance on ginning, once again, having people lose out on opportunity they earned is incredibly disappointing and scary. Getting caught at Worlds just means they were cheating all season, so no, they didn't earn the opportunity to go to Worlds, and even if they did, they tarnish it through cheating. How do you feel bad for cheaters? That is the derangement of the Pokemon community, and we can just assume this is another cheater. So, top 16, Santa Clara Regionals, Worlds 2022 competitor, it's all the same. All these people do is they have solidarity in their cheating because they're all cheaters, and you go to their profile and they're all Worlds competitors, top players at Regionals, Regionals finalists or winners. The entire scene is rotten and they're all cheaters. I'm a Blissey is a fraud. I have a video confirming that. They just run cover for cheaters, which is kind of insane. Remember when I criticized Regulation D for being inaccessible? Once again, bro, it's all this NPC buzzword nonsense to justify cheating in a children's game to steal prize money. It's insane. There's no integrity. Pokemon competitive is just screwed. And it's even worse. Like, this shows that's even worse than you could have imagined. And that's after the conclusion that they're all cheating anyways from Kurt's data mines and stuff, and looking at all the events and seeing that they're all cheaters, and no one posting their rental teams anymore because they just get caught cheating. But that was the thing, like, people saw Regulation D coming up and like Enamorus and the Zero IV Pokemon. Also, a lot of people getting caught with hacked Golden Go, hacked Paradox Pokemon. They can't even get a legal reset for a Pokemon that's easy to catch for 1 in 32 odds to get like Zero IVs and attack on Golden Go or something, or Zero IV speed for some kind of Trick Room stat. So that's one of the things where people are like, oh, Wolf got his 1 in 25 million Raichu legitimately. It's possible, therefore he didn't cheat. When these people can't even spend 30 minutes to reset or farm for a Pokemon. All these people complaining also prove the competitive advantage that hacking gives, especially for the more difficult to obtain Pokemon. I think it's kind of interesting, all the quotes on this are people whining about requirements to play competitive legitimately, instead of laughing at karma of the guy who's, oh my god, they're making it about Wolf. And this dude didn't even steal the team, he went up against it on the ladder and then copied it. So the Wolfey fan that can't cope with Wolf being a confirmed cheater is trying to make this about something else. I thought we had a point going here where it's just like, yeah, you know, whining about the requirements to play competitive Pokemon and then getting banned. No, it's about something else that's just a complete lie anyways, because Wolf is a drama queen fraud. Regardless how you feel about hacking, it's ridiculous how hard it is to get legit competitive Pokemon. Again, even though it's all hypocrisy in the Pokemon community that, oh, no, cheating doesn't give an advantage because it's easier than ever to get competitive Pokemon inside of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Therefore, there's no advantage. But then they turn around and go, nah, it takes too long anyways, and you shouldn't be required to follow the rules. I'm not happy about this. Shouldn't take someone traveling to, qualifying for Worlds, and then getting disqualified. No, they absolutely deserve that. You should be out thousands of dollars in travel money and the expense. You should get banned. You should lose everything you have in this community, get caught cheating in any Pokemon event. I do think it's likely we'll see more bans. Yeah, that's happening. And likely not just from Cathotics. It's only a matter of time, sadly. I mean, I guess it's sad that there is so much time, or like so much cheating in Pokemon, but it's a great thing that these people are finally getting punished. What's there to not be happy about? Confirmed minor attracted person and cyberstalker Weedle memeing about this. Oh boy. And of course the replies are making it about me. And of course the pedo is butthurt. And of course another cheater is considering me as Voldemort. If only they'd make it so creating VGC teams wasn't so difficult. Even though the argument is that it's easier than it's ever been. Big day for annoying people. Being against lying, cheating, and stealing makes you annoying? Wow. Again, the comment starts to look promising and then just goes into derangement. This is why the game will always be a joke compared to every other competitive game. Exactly, because it's all cheaters. The company and half the community believes the skill needed to breed, let alone soft reset indefinitely for certain legendaries. Yeah, following the rules. Also, there is a skill to it. If you are more proficient at breeding and getting competitive Pokemon, you will do it faster than others. That's objective skill. Also, this implies that half the community, even though it's more like 90%, thinks cheating and breaking the rules is okay and acceptable, which is why Pokemon is a complete joke. DQ'd for having a 9 to 5. You can't make this up. They say, literally making that up. No, they were DQ'd for breaking the long-established and very clear rules about hacked Pokemon. There is no excuse for cheating. You can't do the work, you have no right competing. Same for every esport and sport ever. I saw this, let's fight right now. But that was exactly the face I made when I heard about this news, so just truth. Here we go again. Starts off great and then gets ill. Seriously, Pokemon Company International needs to stop pretending and accept that literally everyone at VGC level gens their competitive teams. There we go. That also just kind of goes in line with what we saw about this. Here's why top level players gen their Pokemon in VGC. Like, it's an open secret of cheating, and then everyone's shocked Pikachu face when they start getting punished and banned for it. And then none of them understand why no one takes the competitive Pokemon scene seriously when it's all cheaters and all the corruption. Besides, as long as the movesets are legal, no such thing as legal hack, why should anyone give a damn? Well, why does WolfeyVGC lie about his cheated Pokemon? People care. It's about strategy, not lucking out with RNG. Well, again, training Pokemon is an objective skill, and cheating is wrong, and it's against the rules. So, no, like, that's, the rules say you're wrong. Honestly, even though it's a really awesome thing that all these players are getting disqualified for cheating, it's a 50-50 if this actually does anything for the Pokemon community, because as you can see, the community itself is so deranged from all the cheating and so toxic in their support of breaking the rules that this is actually getting support. People are getting defended and, like, consoled for their cheating, and they're also just kind of being really arrogant and scummy about it. So what this does is it actually exposes that the entire VGC community has actually defended and supported cheating the entire time, even though they'll turn around and say, oh, you're lying, Verlicify, not everyone is cheating. But then in these kinds of threads, like, yeah, of course everyone's cheating. Duh, it's impossible to get your Pokemon otherwise. So the hypocrisy is insane, and when you're dealing with that much cognitive dissonance, the community isn't going to change from this happening. But maybe it's, like, so bad. Maybe the Pokemon company realizes, like, this response is also really bad, and they just need to level the entire VGC scene. You also need to go back and retroactively ban the cheaters that have been caught. Wolfey needs a 3-year minimum ban at this case. Same thing for anyone that cheated at, like, major events, especially the invitationals. So I don't know if the Pokemon company is going to come down as hard on these cheaters as they need to, especially after the horrid community response. Like, man, they just need to take all these people that had 1 or 2 Pokemon removed for being hacked and just DQ them on day 2. Like, when they show up on day 2, you say, no, never mind. Like, you're just banned. You're banned for the next year or 2. Yeah, if you bring a hacked Pokemon to regionals, banned for a year. Worlds, 2 years. Previous cheating, 3 years. Done. Get out of here. Until that happens, the Pokemon competitive scene cannot be salvaged. Also, even more, Verlicify always right. I've been saying for years that Pokemon VGC is dead because there's way too much cheating to actually have people get interested in wanting to compete, and this really proves it. It's just a few thousand people, all of them cheating, all of them just making up excuses for why they cheat and covering for each other, and they can't point out any cheating because they're cheating themselves, and that's all that's left. That's all you're seeing in these replies, that's all you're seeing in these responses to getting caught cheating, and then very few people actually like, finally, all this good stuff is happening, because everyone knows it's all cheated, and they're okay with that. So I wonder if that's what's going on, that Pokemon VGC has already gotten their comeuppance in a dead scene. That's not, oh, everyone getting banned, the entire thing getting, like, torn down and then remaked. It's like, no, you have nothing left. You have a small niche scene where the only thing that remains are cheaters. And that's your reward for the community you have created. Also, if anyone posts their rental teams, because now there's, like, the biggest fear we've ever seen about getting caught cheating, if Kurt can actually, like, get into some deep information post-Worlds, it's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, like, all the non-Japanese cheaters, or all the non-Japanese world champions are confirmed cheaters, even last year's 2022 world champion, so, like, it's done. It's cooked. But it's like, okay, so it just kind of dies quietly with a lot of toxic, deranged people just kind of saying that cheating was okay all along, instead of actually having, like, the big blow up and the big scandal that needed to happen. We'll see how this one plays out. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Interesting development coming out of Pokemon Worlds. People are claiming some of the disqualifications are happening because hacked Pokemon were found on the player's save file. Japan does not mess around. Also, Gavin Michaels, was he removed from the tournament for cheating? Well, we got a little bit more to break down, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with friends, comment your thoughts down below. Also, it's going to be a long night, it's going to be a long weekend, and the Pokemon Teal Mask DLC is coming out next month. Stock up on some energy formula. G Fuel is what I use, and it's probably the only thing keeping me alive right now. Interesting Neopets promotion going on, where you can get a $20 tub Now, it's not a 40 serving tub, it's 15, but if you haven't tried out G Fuel or you've been wanting to give an energy formula a chance, 20 bucks, great entry price. Use code VELOCIFY, 20% off. Let's see what's happening here. So, to me, what's really upsetting is the people who got disqualified for having Pokemon in the box that were modified, and not the team itself they spent time to get legit. If you have hacked Pokemon in your box, you didn't get a legit team. Like, that's the thing that VGC players in the Pokemon community don't understand or reject about Pokemon legitimacy. A legitimate player doesn't have these things happen to them. Also, if you have hacked Pokemon on your save file, you deserve to be disqualified regardless. The rules are very clear that there shouldn't be any hacking whatsoever, and the Pokemon Company has ruled that you're not even allowed to use a hacked Ditto to breed Pokemon. You cannot breed a legal Pokemon from hacked parents. If I have to worry about using basic features of the game, like what I'm being traded, there's a problem. No, the problem is the VGC community loves cheating and defends it religiously. It's also been in the rules since VGC started. Players found to have Pokemon or items that have been tampered with may receive a disqualification regardless of whether the Pokemon or items belong to that player or were traded for. If all of your friends or everyone in the community is hacking and cheating their Pokemon, especially if they're not being honest with you, that's not the fault of the Pokemon Company. It's also really weird how the Pokemon VGC community acknowledges that everyone cheats, but then at the same time will deny that everyone cheats until players start getting mass disqualified, and then now it's unfair. 99% of people competing at Worlds have gen Pokemon. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, that's what I've been saying for years and people got mad at me. And then the funny thing is they immediately go on to not know what they're talking about. P.S. Try to breed legally a Golden Go instead of typing BS under my tweets. So yeah, the response is another gen boy crying, because that's the only correct response with this whole Pokemon Worlds drama. But you can't even breed Golden Go. It's also not that difficult to get a 0 attack Golden Go, since you can just catch Gimmighoul or transfer them from Pokemon Go until you get a 0 attack one. And it's not like, oh man, I don't know my Golden Go's IVs until I evolve and waste the 999 coins, in which case you could still soft reset. So yeah, there's no argument. But then you can tell, like, all these people crying about getting caught cheating, you can tell they have no time in the game, no experience with Pokemon, no idea how Pokemon legality works, and no resources to get a legitimate Pokemon inside their games. And at the same time, they're saying, yeah, everyone's cheating, and then they add that 1% because there's a chance maybe someone just actually did it legitimately because they're really dedicated to Pokemon. Also, having hacked Pokemon in your box means you probably used them at some point, or there was potential for them to be on your team, and you just changed up your team anyway. So yeah, you should not have any hacked Pokemon associated with you whatsoever if you are a legitimate player. Should also specify, I would never use mons I got from Wonder Trade in a tournament. Yeah, everyone knows that Wonder Trade is just hacked Pokemon and trade bots. That if you get a shiny off the Wonder Trade or a perfect competitive Pokemon, of course, don't use it. But then when I say that over 90% of competitive Pokemon are hacked, people get mad at me and they try to, like, deflect and say, no, there's not that much cheating. That person with the full shiny team is legitimate. Why would you just forget about a hacked Pokemon that you got off the Wonder Trade, though? See, that's another problem. People have a really hard time giving up a hacked Pokemon once they receive it for free off the Wonder Trade. People have gotten mad at me for releasing clearly hacked shiny Pokemon I got off the Wonder Trade when I was doing my hunting to remove them from the game. Or when idiots ask, wait, is the 6th best IV shiny Charizard I got off the Wonder Trade hacked? You tell them yes and that they need to delete it because it's a hacked Pokemon. And then they attack you for being mean, but that just really confirms the massive cheating problem in Pokemon, and that's why we're here. Also, big trend that I just have, like, so many of these cheat sympathizers and VGC players blocked, because the whole community is rotten. So, is that a rumor, or is it really true? Like, they checked player boxes, DQ'd them for having that, and here's where, like, this is kind of getting development. Happened to someone I know at Worlds, not disclosing name, even though they're already disqualified and they're already, like, brandished as cheaters. But now because it's getting so much attention, where it's like, okay, a couple people got DQ'd, and then you make a sob story on Twitter to get all the engagement, and then you get a lot of support because it's just cheat sympathizers and apologists in the Pokemon community, but then too many people start getting disqualified because, oh wait, everyone's cheating, as people have just admitted, you know, it's 99% of the Pokemon VGC community. So they passed the initial hack check, then failed later because they went through their box and found modified Pokemon, so they assume their team is illegitimate. God, you gotta love Japan for how much they crack down on cheating. I really hope the Pokemon company drops a statement. They come out of this like, yo, we disqualified you guys, and then you try to band together to like boycott us or protest, or you just get upset even though you're the ones breaking the rules. Like, we need to see big bans. We need to see a complete teardown of Pokemon VGC because of all the cheating. Also, this is an acknowledgement that even though they have an advanced hack check at Worlds that's busting a lot of players, they know it can't detect like the most perfectly hacked Pokemon, so they're looking for other things like, oh, you sloppily hacked one in your box. Gotcha, cheater. That's why I don't find this whole thing upsetting, and I already mentioned, like, well, yeah, if you're a legitimate player, you're not going to have that. It also could be likely that was just a reject from the team, but they had intentions on using it. So it's gotten extra zero tolerance. If they find anything that suggests hacking, you're gone. But again, that also kind of shows, like, there is a way of making perfectly hacked teams that can get past any kind of hack check if you're careful enough. So that's kind of interesting, but at the same time, everyone's saying like, oh, it's not fair that some people are getting banned because everyone's cheating anyways. Now let's talk about Gavin Michaels. Now we don't have any hard confirmation because there isn't a post saying, yep, I got crossed out on day 2 of Worlds, but it's really weird. He goes 0-2 and then gets crossed out. 0-2 does not eliminate your chances at Worlds, and no one else was a 0-2 drop. Interesting thing about Gavin, he's one of the few players that got a direct invite into day 2. So bold have it, boom, Gavin Michaels. This is on Victory Road for the 2023 Worlds invites. Now there's a very, very low chance that Gavin Michaels came into the tournament, went 0-2, and just was not feeling it, got too tilted to function, because the day 2 giveth and taketh away. That you're not coming in, you know, hot on a win streak, hot on your 5 wins from day 1, you have experience with what's going on in the meta, you're coming in cold, and you could just get bodied out, maybe realize your team does not function into any of this, and there's no point trying anymore. So maybe it's 0-2, I don't have much time left in Japan, I'm gonna get out, and I'm gonna have my Japan dream vacation. But it's also really weird because Gavin is one of the players in the VGC community right now. The next Wolf Glick, coming in strong, winning a regional championships, doing well enough to go into day 2. So it also doesn't make a lot of sense to just kind of throw all of that away. Not try to make the run back, you know, the 0-2 into actually making it into day 3. That's the hero's story. Instead, randomly gets crossed out. Wait, I got it mixed up. It was first place at an international championship, and then got first place at the Vancouver Regionals. Also, second place at Fresno. Dude went to a lot of events and did pretty well. Also, another thing is there's no tweet either way. No tweet saying, yeah, I got DQ'd, sorry to let everyone down, but the rules are stupid and the accessibility problems, therefore he gets all the sympathy. But also no tweet like, yeah, man, I wasn't feeling good. The 90-degree heat kind of roasted me yesterday, and I woke up sick today, and I just had no ability to compete, and I just had to drop out for my own health. None of that either. And I'm not going to buy that tweet after uploading this video because the remove from tournament happened hours ago. More than enough time to update and then just kind of be like, yeah, had to drop out. I'm going to enjoy my time in Japan. Love you, everyone. Sorry I couldn't do better. Without that post at this point, really suspicious to me. And now it's all about defending the cheaters and covering up for them, even though, again, the admission is Pokemon's in the wrong, everyone cheats, the accessibility is on the Pokemon's fault, we're all defending cheating anyways, but now we have to cover for the cheaters because there's so much attention on this, and day 2 cheaters getting caught is extra bad. And inside of that dig went a little further. Simperq's first place team from Vancouver, they cheated. And then they're tweeting about how they're doing at Worlds. Also, congratulating the person that had a hacked Pokemon removed from their team and then making it out into day 2. So now the greatest story ever of Pokemon Worlds is some dude lost a Pokemon that was cheated and then won a couple games to make it into day 2. Also, we have this on stream, and Cybertron. This player is truly something special, and they top cutted despite being a cheater that was caught earlier this year. So yeah, Pokemon Company hack check, not as good as Kurt's, unfortunately. So that's the quick update as to what's going on right now in Japan, but since it's happening in Japan, happening late, at least I've got caffeine, and we're going to see the developments. I'm not expecting anyone to put out rental team codes. It seems like most of the people have been caught. Now everyone's going underground, getting quiet. Maybe the Pokemon Company is cooking something up. I don't know, this could be getting close to it, but also we're going to have like a lot of fallout from the community, just kind of reacting to all this stuff. It's getting interesting. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Interesting development coming out of Pokemon Worlds. People are claiming some of the disqualifications are happening because hacked Pokemon were found on the player's save file. Japan does not mess around. Also, Gavin Michaels, was he removed from the tournament for cheating? Well, we got a little bit more to break down, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below. Also, it's going to be a long night, it's going to be a long weekend, and the Pokemon Teal Mask DLC is coming out next month. Stock up on some energy formula. G Fuel is what I use, and it's probably the only thing keeping me alive right now. Interesting Neopets promotion going on where you can get a $20 tub. Now, it's not a 40-serving tub, it's 15, but if you haven't tried out G Fuel or you've been wanting to give an energy formula a chance, 20 bucks, great entry price. Use code VELOCIFY, 20% off. Let's see what's happening here. So, to me, what's really upsetting is the people who got disqualified for having Pokemon in the box that were modified, and not the team itself they spent time to get legit. If you have hacked Pokemon in your box, you didn't get a legit team. Like, that's the thing that VGC players in the Pokemon community don't understand or reject about Pokemon legitimacy. A legitimate player doesn't have these things happen to them. Also, if you have hacked Pokemon on your save file, you deserve to be disqualified regardless. The rules are very clear that there shouldn't be any hacking whatsoever, and the Pokemon Company has ruled that you're not even allowed to use a hacked Ditto to breed Pokemon. You cannot breed a legal Pokemon from hacked parents. If I have to worry about using basic features of the game, like what I'm being traded, there's a problem. No, the problem is the VGC community loves cheating and defends it religiously. It's also been in the rules since VGC started. Players found to have Pokemon or items that have been tampered with may receive a disqualification regardless of whether the Pokemon or items belong to that player or were traded for. If all of your friends or everyone in the community is hacking and cheating their Pokemon, especially if they're not being honest with you, that's not the fault of the Pokemon Company. It's also really weird how the Pokemon VGC community acknowledges that everyone cheats, but then at the same time will deny that everyone cheats until players start getting mass disqualified, and then now it's unfair. 99% of people competing at Worlds have gen Pokemon. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, that's what I've been saying for years and people got mad at me. And then the funny thing is they immediately go on to not know what they're talking about. P.S. Try to breed legally a Golden Go instead of typing BS under my tweets. So yeah, the response is another gen boy crying, because that's the only correct response with this whole Pokemon Worlds drama. But you can't even breed Golden Go. It's also not that difficult to get a 0 attack Golden Go, since you can just catch Gimmighoul or transfer them from Pokemon Go until you get a 0 attack one. And it's not like, oh man, I don't know my Golden Go's IVs until I evolve and waste the 999 coins, in which case you could still soft reset. So yeah, there's no argument. But then you can tell, like, all these people crying about getting caught cheating, you can tell they have no time in the game, no experience with Pokemon, no idea how Pokemon legality works, and no resources to get a legitimate Pokemon inside their games. And at the same time, they're saying, yeah, everyone's cheating, and then they add that 1% because there's a chance maybe someone just actually did it legitimately because they're really dedicated to Pokemon. Also, having hacked Pokemon in your box means you probably used them at some point, or there was potential for them to be on your team, and you just changed up your team anyway. So yeah, you should not have any hacked Pokemon associated with you whatsoever if you are a legitimate player. Should also specify, I would never use mons I got from Wonder Trade in a tournament. Yeah, everyone knows that Wonder Trade is just hacked Pokemon and trade bots. That if you get a shiny off the Wonder Trade or a perfect competitive Pokemon, of course, don't use it. But then when I say that over 90% of competitive Pokemon are hacked, people get mad at me and they try to like deflect and say, no, there's not that much cheating. That person with the full shiny team is legitimate. Why would you just forget about a hacked Pokemon that you got off the Wonder Trade, though? See, that's another problem. People have a really hard time giving up a hacked Pokemon once they receive it for free off the Wonder Trade. People have gotten mad at me for releasing clearly hacked shiny Pokemon I got off the Wonder Trade when I was doing my hunting to remove them from the game. Or when idiots ask, wait, is the 6th best IV shiny Charizard I got off the Wonder Trade hacked? You tell them yes and that they need to delete it because it's a hacked Pokemon. And then they attack you for being mean, but that just really confirms the massive cheating problem in Pokemon, and that's why we're here. Also, big trend that I just have, like, so many of these cheat sympathizers and VGC players blocked, because the whole community is rotten. So, is that a rumor, or is it really true? Like, they checked player boxes, DQ'd them for having that, and here's where, like, this is kind of getting development. Happened to someone I know at Worlds, not disclosing name, even though they're already disqualified and they're already like brandished as cheaters, but now because it's getting so much attention where it's like, okay, a couple people got DQ'd and then you make a sob story on Twitter to get all the engagement and then you get a lot of support because it's just cheat sympathizers and apologists in the Pokemon community. But then too many people start getting disqualified because, oh wait, everyone's cheating, as people have just admitted, you know, it's 99% of the Pokemon VGC community. So they passed the initial hack check, then failed later because they went through their box and found modified Pokemon, so they assumed their team is illegitimate. God, you gotta love Japan for how much they crack down on cheating. I really hope the Pokemon company drops a statement. They come out of this like, yo, we disqualified you guys, and then you try to band together to like boycott us or protest, or you just get upset even though you're the ones breaking the rules. Like, we need to see big bans. We need to see a complete teardown of Pokemon VGC because of all the cheating. Also, this is an acknowledgement that even though they have an advanced hack check at Worlds that's busting a lot of players, they know it can't detect, like, the most perfectly hacked Pokemon. So they're looking for other things like, oh, you sloppily hacked one in your box. Gotcha, cheater. That's why I don't find this whole thing upsetting, and I already mentioned, like, well, yeah, if you're a legitimate player, you're not going to have that. It also could be likely that was just a reject from the team, but they had intentions on using it. So it's gotten extra zero tolerance. If they find anything that suggests hacking, you're gone. But again, that also kind of shows, like, there is a way of making perfectly hacked teams that can get past any kind of hack check if you're careful enough. So that's kind of interesting, but at the same time, everyone's saying like, oh, it's not fair that some people are getting banned because everyone's cheating anyways. Now let's talk about Gavin Michaels. Now we don't have any hard confirmation because there isn't a post saying, yep, I got crossed out on day 2 of Worlds, but it's really weird. He goes 0-2 and then gets crossed out. 0-2 does not eliminate your chances at Worlds, and no one else was a 0-2 drop. Interesting thing about Gavin, he's one of the few players that got a direct invite into day 2. So bold have it, boom, Gavin Michaels. This is on Victory Road for the 2023 Worlds invites. Now there's a very, very low chance that Gavin Michaels came into the tournament, went 0-2, and just was not feeling it, got too tilted to function, because the day 2 giveth and taketh away. That you're not coming in, you know, hot on a win streak, hot on your 5 wins from day 1, you have experience with what's going on in the meta, you're coming in cold, and you could just get bodied out, maybe realize your team does not function into any of this, and there's no point trying anymore. So maybe it's 0-2, I don't have much time left in Japan, I'm gonna get out, and I'm gonna have my Japan dream vacation. But it's also really weird because Gavin is one of the players in the VGC community right now. The next Wolf Glick, coming in strong, winning a regional championships, doing well enough to go into day 2. So it also doesn't make a lot of sense to just kind of throw all of that away. Not try to make the run back, you know, the 0-2 into actually making it into day 3. That's the hero's story. Instead, randomly gets crossed out. Wait, I got it mixed up. It was first place at an international championship, and then got first place at the Vancouver Regionals. Also, second place at Fresno. Dude went to a lot of events and did pretty well. Also, another thing is there's no tweet either way. No tweet saying, yeah, I got DQ'd, sorry to let everyone down, but the rules are stupid and the accessibility problems, therefore he gets all the sympathy. But also no tweet like, yeah, man, I wasn't feeling good. The 90-degree heat kind of roasted me yesterday, and I woke up sick today, and I just had no ability to compete, and I just had to drop out for my own health. None of that either. And I'm not going to buy that tweet after uploading this video because the remove from tournament happened hours ago. More than enough time to update and then just kind of be like, yeah, had to drop out. I'm going to enjoy my time in Japan. Love you, everyone. Sorry I couldn't do better. Without that post at this point, really suspicious to me. And now it's all about defending the cheaters and covering up for them, even though, again, the admission is Pokemon's in the wrong, everyone cheats, the accessibility is on the Pokemon's fault, we're all defending cheating anyways, but now we have to cover for the cheaters because there's so much attention on this, and day 2 cheaters getting caught is extra bad. And inside of that dig went a little further. Simperq's first place team from Vancouver, they cheated. And then they're tweeting about how they're doing at Worlds. Also, congratulating the person that had a hacked Pokemon removed from their team and then making it out into day 2. So now the greatest story ever of Pokemon Worlds is some dude lost a Pokemon that was cheated and then won a couple games to make it into day 2. Also, we have this on stream, and Cybertron, this player is truly something special, and they top-cutted despite being a cheater that was caught earlier this year. So yeah, Pokemon Company hack check, not as good as Kurt's, unfortunately. So that's the quick update as to what's going on right now in Japan, but since it's happening in Japan, happening late, at least I've got caffeine, and we're going to see the developments. I'm not expecting anyone to put out rental team codes. It seems like most of the people have been caught, now everyone's going underground, getting quiet, maybe the Pokemon Company is cooking something up. I don't know, this could be getting close to it, but also we're going to have like a lot of fallout from the community, just kind of reacting to all this stuff. It's getting interesting. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I think their stance on hacked Pokemon is fine, but problem is they allow Pokemon to be used in events that aren't accessible in the game they're being played on. Why wasn't this a problem back in Generation 7 and earlier? The hypocrisy is wild, but base take. Just don't allow imported Pokemon until they're available natively. Pokemon Home. Wait, but now the National Dex is bad, guys. Now the National Dex is bad. And just like that, I was taken back 10 years to when I was calling out bad Poketubers like Shofu for hacking Pokemon. Hayden being a part of that generation. Here's my take. Pokemon's stance on hacked Pokemon is absolutely dumb. Let the people play. And this is why I was taken back. It's the same refusal to accept that cheating is wrong in Pokemon that we've had for a decade, and it's finally boiled over, but no one can cope. Now, we'll get back to the rest of this, but it just doesn't make any sense. Also, we got other Poketubers jumping in. M&J TV. It's insane to me that Pokemon is being strict about hacked Pokemon. It's the realization that it's been the same thing for a decade, if not only getting worse. Cheaters are getting punished. And that is a bad thing, because the Pokemon community has become so entitled and so toxic. This is why the games are dead. This is why VGC cannot be taken seriously as an esport, and no real person in esports actually cares or even knows Pokemon esports exist. While simultaneously making their official format include Pokemon you cannot obtain in the game the format is played in. And I've already debunked this in my previous videos on the subject. If you haven't watched them, go watch them. This is one of the most insane things, and now we're just reacting to the response, which is even crazier. But in those videos, you can clearly tell that VGC players don't play Pokemon games at all. They do not have the resources inside of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to even get legal Scarlet and Violet Pokemon, so that's why they have to pop them into PK Hex, modify them if they don't like something with the Pokemon, even if it was once a legal Pokemon someone else gave them, then they hack it to modify it, which is explicitly against the rules, they put it back in and get disqualified, and then cry about it. Urshifu is top tier, yet requires you to own a 4-year-old game's DLC to get it legit. And there's absolutely nothing stopping anyone from getting an Urshifu and putting it into Pokemon Home. You've had 4 years to do this, and there's also not even like crazy restrictions. The Nintendo Switch makes Pokemon acquisition more accessible than ever. Just make a new profile, and then you get a new save on your cartridge, which didn't exist in Pokemon before, and then you can just get another Urshifu. Get as many legendaries as you want through the DLC. Also, the accessibility argument that's popped up in the hive mind of NPCs and losers in the Pokemon community is one of the most dishonest things I have ever seen in Pokemon. Almost every player already had Pokemon Sword and Shield to begin with, and if you're playing competitive Pokemon and you're dedicating to the Pokemon franchise, you should have already played the games, and it's not too much of a barrier to go back and play previous games to get access to content. And the funniest thing to me, Pokemon Legends Arceus, I thought that was like the greatest game ever. Everyone loved it, everyone played it, and yet there's a complete struggle for people to play it and get Pokemon that we knew were going to be legal for the VGC format. Verlisify always right. It's absolutely insane. Also, this is the new player experience for any competitive scene. You gotta play some catch-up. You're going to be at a disadvantage if you start League of Legends today and you have to learn 150 champions all at once instead of starting a decade ago and then being introduced to them and learning about it and being updated with all the patches, ebbs and flows, and histories of that of that champion's balance. Wow. It's insane. Oh, here we go. Let's see this false analogy. It would be like the Smash Ultimate circuit requiring you to have Smash 4. It's not a requirement. You don't have to have Urshifu on your team to compete. Competitive Pokemon will be taken more seriously if they built a team builder like Showdown that only works for PvP battles. That's it. That's simple and would avoid all these issues. Holding cheaters accountable and being against cheating as an influencer in the Pokemon community would avoid all these issues. But nah, you're just a fraud that's held hostage by all the children in your audience that are too entitled, and you have no moral integrity, so you're not going to tell them to work for their things and be an honest person and not cheat. And of course, there it is. Some of us don't have the time to grind. If you don't have the time, then you have no right to competitive. This is the separation between regular people and the highest level of competition, and it's no different for any sport or esport. You gotta go out and practice and train for real sports, and that's thousands of hours right there to become in the 0.1% of people that are actually allowed into a professional scene. My bad, 0.5%. But Pokemon is still more accessible than any of that. And as I've talked about in other videos, you don't need thousands of dollars with a high-end gaming PC and competitive peripherals to play Pokemon. You have to put in just as much time into Pokemon as you do for practicing any other game, and that includes Pokemon acquisition. And you have to follow the rules or else you have no right to play. We just see the most insane derangement. That's exactly why they removed the National Dex. So you have to have every game and every DLC and Pokemon Home to have a chance at playing VGC and getting somewhere. Even though the National Dex was never available in a Pokemon game, you still had to have the previous Pokemon games to trade them into that game or go Pokemon Home into that game as well. Same thing for Pokemon Bank. It's not all cheat defending losers. We got some people, bad take, cheating is cheating. But let's go into some other communities. We got Holem Scrafty. Why are certain Pokemon VGC legal if they're not obtainable in that game? Wow, the Pokemon community is actually the stupidest community in all of gaming. Because of the whole National Dex thing in Pokemon Sword and Shield, they forgot this was exactly the way it was in Generation 7 and prior. You couldn't get all of the National Dex Pokemon in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon, whatever, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. You had to have transfer Pokemon. Pokemon expects so much from its players, and I hope that changes. So much. It's such an expectation to follow the rules and play the games. These are your influencers, people. This is why the Pokemon community is trash and Pokemon VGC is dead. People always ask me for my opinions on other Poketubers or if I think there's any Poketuber that's good or someone to respect. And my default answer is, nah, they're all terrible, they're all bad actors, frauds, they suck, they defend cheating and stuff. And that usually came with the asterisk of, I don't have anything bad to say against Munching Orange. And he's one of the few people that follows me. We've had conversations somewhat recently, especially with like Pokemon Unite and stuff. So like he'll actually engage with me and we'll talk because there's like Pokemon fan camaraderie there. But then there's stuff like this that just validates me saying, no, every PokeTuber is bad. If your Pokemon don't have any illegitimate stats, moves, abilities, is it really cheating? Further pushing the lie, the fake narrative of legal Pokemon. There's no such thing as a legal Pokemon that is gen. You can't legally break the rules, you can't legally hack the game or mod your saves or anything. This illegitimate stats, moves, abilities doesn't matter. If the Pokemon is modified or hacked in any way, it violates the rules, it violates the TOS, it disadvantages legitimate players, it is cheating. Yes. Yes. Is it really cheating? Yes. And then the replies to all this is mixed. Is it really cheating in sports to use steroids if everyone can use them? And then, as you can see, toxicity of Pokemon community just cannot deal. Got people agreeing, exactly. I got a 6 IV Ditto that I've used to breed others. Does that count as cheating? Yes, hacked Dittos have been ruled by the Pokemon Company to be cheating. You can't have any hacks anywhere in the lineage of your Pokemon or at any point in your game. Hacked items count. You catch a legendary Pokemon in a hacked Master Ball, that thing's cheated. And we've watched the slippery slope become real. It is not a fallacy, and that's what people got mad at me for a decade ago when I was like, hey, we can't entertain any cheating. No single player cheating, no hacking your game, no ROM hacks, no mods, because that is going to snowball into online. And then it escalated online. Well, yeah, if me and all my friends, we know we're all using PK Hex, then it's okay to use hacked Pokemon. Then it went to the battle spot, because, well, singles isn't even a format, and there's no, like, official VGC thing going on with the ranked ladder for the battle spot anyways, so I can just, like, hack a team and then use that to practice. But don't worry, I'm going to be making my team legitimate for Worlds, and then now the slippery slope has gone full circle to where the cheaters are getting punished at Worlds like we've never seen before, because there's more cheating than we've ever seen before in Pokemon, and now everyone is running defense for the cheaters because it's wrong that cheaters are getting punished. And now there's all these lies about competitive Pokemon being inaccessible, even though it's more accessible than ever. These brats, these entitled losers, they forget what it's like for Generation 7 when you had to breed and you didn't have mints, and also EV training needed to be done by hand instead of just maxing out the vitamins and stuff, and then it only gets harder the more generations you go back. So Game Freak has given the quality of life, bans cheaters for disrespecting it, and then the cheaters cry that they're not the ones being respected. This was also the slippery slope I was calling out when I was like, man, I don't like hyper training in Pokemon Sun and Moon because it's not going to make people cheat less. And then eventually you're just going to see more cheating from it. Verlicify, always right. And then just some other things. These worlds are a joke. Some of the top contenders disqualified on 3-1, 4-1. Ah, yes, they finally get caught cheating as the pack gets thinner and thinner and becomes easier to kind of detect everyone. I've seen the dumbest arguments of people saying, oh, why did they wait until they were battling or the tournament started? There were hundreds of players for the Masters division. The hack check goes pretty deep and needs time. Also, as players drop out of the tournament or move on to the next day, then you have a smaller field of players to hack check. And the thing is, we're not going to know how many players were disqualified from Worlds unless the Pokemon Company makes a public statement, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. I wasn't expecting Japan to go this hard with the hack checking. Yes, I know Japan takes it seriously, but after all of the corruption I've seen in the Pokemon Company International and all the cheating that's just gone unpunished, I gave up hope. So this is actually incredible for me, but then it still comes with caveats. Until WolfeyVGC is banned for his proven cheating, it's kind of worthless. Unless we get a statement, an acknowledgement from the Pokemon Company. If these players that were disqualified are not banned for at least a year, it all means nothing. The thing is, it's going to be impossible to know how many players were banned because not everyone is going to make a statement about them getting banned, and a lot of it's staying like inside the event where it's just like, yeah man, I got crossed out, my tournament's over, I'm just going to go hang out in Japan for a bit now, or I'm just going to go back home or whatever. And it even gets murky going off of the pairings, because did that 1 and 3 player drop, or were they 1 and 2, got disqualified, that was the game loss, and then they were removed from the tournament. And then a surprising amount of late tournament players, 3-1s, 4-1s, that was what this guy said, and then there was a reply saying, I got dropped at 5. If this makes you feel better, I'm DQ'd at 5-2. So this dude had the 5th win to go to day 2, and then was told, nah, cheated. Victories in qualification for day 2 were given to lucky players, because yeah, if your opponent is disqualified for cheating, you get the win, and if you're at 4-1, and that means you get 5, and that's going to put you into day 2. I'm wondering if there's the implication of, yes, every single person, or at least 99% of the players at Worlds are cheating, so it's not fair that someone randomly gets punished or disqualified for cheating. Like, that could also be it. These could just be like random spot checks, and most of them are turning up with hacked Pokemon. Also, just because someone didn't get disqualified doesn't mean they're not cheating. It just means they were incredibly careful about every little detail. And you know that's what Wolf's crew is cooking. Also, another trend we're seeing, just attacking the Pokemon Company and how the organization is being run instead of being accountable for your actions of cheating. 7 rounds instead of 8 with 130 participants. Boo-hoo, you couldn't get 5 wins with your cheated team. Congrats to TBCI, who made players spend $3,000. And that's another thing that's weird about the argument, that, wait, what do you mean it's inaccessible and BS? To have to pay for Pokemon games you most likely already own, or you just get like a used copy and some DLC, or you pick up Pokemon Legends for 60 bucks. When the amount of money it takes to get the championship points, because Pokemon VGC is just pay to win. You can fly out to all the regionals you want, get like top 64 with the attendance, I guess, on multiple events, and then eventually chump yourself into Worlds. Same thing for like international events and whatever. So you're spending thousands to qualify for Worlds, thousands to fly out to Worlds, but then they cry about not having $60 for a Pokemon game. I mean, he's saying it right here, actually. 99% of people competing at Worlds have Gen Mons. Clearly, you don't know what you're talking about. Try to breed legally a Golden Go instead of typing BS under my tweets. Bro, just like admitting they aren't going to do the most basic amount of work. Even getting a 0 IV Golden Go is less work than getting any Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Oh, and Gimmighoul isn't even in an egg group? So that's how you can prove these cheaters know nothing about the game and have put 0 work into the game. You don't breed a Golden Go. You catch a Gimmighoul, which actually isn't hard. You can find Gimmighoul out in the wild. You just keep catching them until you get 0 IV, and maybe they're even soft reset. Also, Pokemon Go transfer. You don't have to spend the 999 coins to find out if your Golden Go is usable or not. You just get a 0 attack IV Gimmighoul. But again, that's how you know like all this is hacked, and Kurt found this out a while ago. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there's no mechanic to increase IVs in wild Pokemon, yet many players had wild Pokemon with 6 flawless IVs. There's a difference between best and hyper trained. Half the teams sampled with Golden Go were hacked, 22 of the 25 were naturally 6 IVs. And that's not counting the ones that were like hacked properly and only just did like a natural 0 IV and then got past Kurt's hack check. But this was back in January, so you know it's only gotten worse. And yes, legitimate players know that virtually everyone in Pokemon VGC is cheating, but whenever they state that, the VGC community attacks them as liars, that no, not everyone's cheating, Wolf is legitimate, but then also the VGC community will use that as like a defense now that players are getting disqualified. It's the weirdest open secret that everyone is a hypocrite about. So I'm pretty sure that's what the luck implication is, and that's where it just gets even crazier. Everyone knows everyone is cheating, they deny it until they get caught, and then they deflect with arguments that have no validity whatsoever. But then because Pokemon influencers have only benefited from cheating, the only reason they have what they have is from ROM hacks, is from defending cheating, is from hacking Pokemon so they can make content. They have to run cover for it instead of doing the right thing and being against cheating, because cheating is wrong. So Hayden also says this: you better believe if I was competing in Japan for the World Championship, knowing that the rules are clear, I would have showed up with legit mons. It just doesn't make any sense. You're either a legit player or you aren't. Also, very easy to say something like this when you don't compete in the format
and don't get any Pokemon legitimately, and it's all just hack stuff for Pokemon Showdown battles. And then immediately turning around and contradicting. Being expected to own Pokemon Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, Sword and Shield, Crown Tundra, just to have the chance to get a team that would compete is ridiculous and too much to ask for. Too much to ask that you play the previous main series game, the DLC for the previous format, and then also Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl as a main series game in between generations, and Pokemon Legends Arceus, the most acclaimed Pokemon game ever that apparently no one has played. And even that right there makes it more accessible than most other sports or esports. And it's the same NPC talking points. It's too much to ask for. Now, I like this guy. To be clear, no you wouldn't. Hayden fans know he wouldn't. In order to be anywhere near good enough to compete for the top of Worlds, you would have to go through that grind, and you absolutely would quit while trying to make each team legitimately, or you'd just be like at such a disadvantage you couldn't even qualify for Worlds. That's why everyone is a proven cheater, because it's impossible to compete legitimately to begin with. I think their stance on hatched Pokemon is fine, but problem is they allow Pokemon to be used in events that aren't accessible in the game they're being played on. Why wasn't this a problem back in Generation 7 and earlier? The hypocrisy is wild, but base take. Just don't allow imported Pokemon until they're available natively. Pokemon Home. Wait, but now the National Dex is bad, guys! Now the National Dex is bad! And then I want to make this point to close out the video, even though I keep repeating myself, we are not going to know how many people had cheated Pokemon, because there's also a lot of players that just had a Pokemon or two removed, which still allows them to compete via the rules, because the rules have been changed to allow cheaters like WolfeyVGC to not be immediately banned if they're caught with hatched Pokemon, even though the old rules for Pokemon used to say you will be disqualified for any hatched Pokemon. Now it's you will be disqualified if you have 3 or more. So yeah, that goes back into this, and then as we can see, all the influencers are just bad actors, but like I started off this video with, it's been that way the entire time. And now that everything is finally coming down, because you can't have any scene hold up when it's all cheating, they still can't cope, and they're still trying to deflect. So I hope the Pokemon Company sees it. It's like, wait a second, all the players we just disqualified for cheating, they're now trying to attack us for punishing them, even though they were the ones that violated the rules, and now they're trying to like garner sympathy and support, and they're getting arrogant about it. Like, this is where it's just like, nah, just level it all. If you had one hacked Pokemon, banned for a year. If you got disqualified, banned for 2 years. Wolf needs at least 3. Like, we have to, like, they need to crack down harder than we've ever seen before. Also, I feel like anyone that has received a punishment needs to be banned for the first year if we do get an official battle simulator. Just, I want to see what legit Pokemon looks like, because we've never actually had it, and that's sad. That's also why Pokemon's a complete joke, and competitive and esports is dead. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. The Pokemon World Championship has concluded. Let's talk about what happened at the event and how VGC players are dealing with it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So the big news, first Pokemon World Championship in Japan, and for VGC, Japanese players swept. First place for Masters, Seniors, and Juniors. That is some crazy stuff, especially with all the disqualifications that happened with cheating. Now, the thing about Japanese players, historically clean. So this is for the Pokemon 25th Anniversary Invitational. Ryota and Naoto, they had clean teams. They passed the hack check. Everyone else failed. Former world champion WolfeyVGC caught with hacked Pokemon. Players Cup champion Santino caught with hacked Pokemon, which is why props to Ryota and Naoto for having clean teams. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, of course the Japanese players don't quit. It's illegal in Japan, but Japanese players cheat all the time. Japanese players were disqualified from this year's World Champions and have also been caught cheating in the past. Also, if you go onto the battle stadium, it's like 90% Japanese players anyways, and there's tons of hack teams. So just because they're Japanese players doesn't mean they aren't cheating, but it's still a good look for Japan. Now let's talk about the cheating, because more and more players are talking about receiving disqualifications or having Pokemon removed. You are texting me asking for the result. I had to play with 4 Pokemon because of the hack check. So this adds a very complicated layer to the cheating that happened at the 2023 Pokemon World Championships, because there's a lot of players talking about having Pokemon removed from their teams, but they weren't disqualified. We don't know how many players were disqualified for using hacked Pokemon. Allegedly, some players were disqualified for having 2 hacked of Pokemon in their PC box. They remain unnamed. Also, sorting the X3 players that were drops from being disqualified, kind of difficult. And then countless players having 1 or 2 Pokemon removed from being hacked. Insane amounts of cheating, and we're not going to know the extent because not everyone's going to talk about it. A lot of people are going quiet now that there's a lot of attention. But unless the Pokemon Company issues a statement because there was so much cheating or announces like penalties and long-term punishments, we're really not going to know the extent of how bad it was. But this was the worst year we've ever seen for cheating and disqualifications, and it only gets worse for Pokemon. So the follow-up is also just incredible, unbelievable from these players getting caught cheating. After coming from the other side of the world, doesn't entitle you cheating. I found myself unable to play my worlds. That's because you cheated. What is worse, no one explained what was wrong with my Pokemon. Don't cheat, and then you don't have to explain. Get your Pokemon legally. The worst World Championship Series ever, because I finally got caught cheating. And when you hover the names, Top 16 EU, Pokemon Players Cup 2 and 3, VRQ Qualifier 3, Champion, Top 64 European International Championship, Regional Runners-Up, and then also a lot of top placements. More proof that all the top players are cheating, and it's impossible to compete if you aren't. Now, I've already covered a lot of this. If you've missed the coverage, check it out in description down below. You don't have to watch all the videos because I do repeat myself quite a bit on the players that have gotten caught cheating, just kind of elaborate more on it. But if you want to get a better understanding of how deranged and toxic the Pokemon VGC community has been about this, go watch a couple of those videos. Also, share them with everyone you know because this is massive. So yeah, disqualified from Worlds on 3-1. Just peace sign, chilling, even though it's like, wait, you're at Worlds. You qualified for Worlds. You have top 8 Players Cup, top 8 in regionals, and you have disgraced the game by being a proven cheater. And then everyone just kind of like, sorry to hear it, man. Another way you know everyone in VGC is cheating because of the camaraderie from getting disqualified. Also, you see it in a lot of these replies as well. A lot of DQs happened early on as well. DQ'd at 2-0, and this person helps Pokemon players improve with coaching, community, and a course. Learn how to cheat. Also, they have, like, you know, some kind of branding with the VGC Corner. Go to VGC Corner, get your coaching, get to Worlds like this dude did. Oh, wait, never mind. Everyone in VGC is cheating, and it's all a sham. Didn't have Legends Arceus to get the Lando. Didn't need it. If you're a VGC player, you should have Sword and Shield DLC, and you should have completed it, and you should have access to Dynamax Adventures many times over. You've had years to do it, and months with the announcement of the expanded decks from Pokemon Home. And then the inability to cope with getting caught cheating. The weirdest part is that they waited till the World Championship Series to start upping their game, even though an email went out before the event saying they are bringing a more strict hack check and you shouldn't use Pokemon from other people. What did this dude do? He got Pokemon from other people. And then people just started spreading lies about how, oh, it's not fair that we're getting caught cheating. The game's inaccessible and it's pay to win because even though we're spending thousands of dollars to go to all the regional events to qualify and thousands more to go out to Worlds, $60 in some DLC on games we should already own is just too much. Pokemon Sword and Shield and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have sold over 20 million copies each. Seems like the only people that haven't bought and played the games are the competitive Pokemon community. And even then, like, you have to buy Sword and Shield to compete in the last generation, or last year even, and you had to buy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to compete at this. So they're just not playing the games. They're exposing themselves and lying their way out of it. Got disqualified from Worlds last round, 4-2. I cannot stop crying. So much effort put in for literally nothing. Crazy how they say, like, they put in effort when they just get caught cheating, so they just cheated. There's no effort put in, because they bypassed all the effort. New hack check makes no sense. We spend money, we need respect. Cheaters demanding respect. That is how deranged and toxic the Pokemon community is. Just completely unbelievable stuff. More people sadly got disqualified, and then was 4-0 at Worlds, and this is another story about Pokemon being removed. So that's what I mean, like, this is kind of a new one that ended up popping up on top of all the other stories that have come out, and then all the other people have stayed quiet, and then other people saying like, oh yeah, I know people that got disqualified or had Pokemon removed or had other weird stuff happen. So it was a cheating epidemic. And so much of it happened that just like the Pokemon VGC community can't handle that they finally got busted. But it's not just Pokemon VGC. The Pokemon community is just rotten to the core. So we have this. I get VGC DQs, but what is happening in Unite? Holy moly, friend got excited, took off the headset aggressively. They took 2 games as a penalty. Wait, might have been 1 game, no one knows. Yeah, in Unite, losers bracket, another team got DQ'd. So Westerners not able to respect Japanese culture and Pokemon World Championships being held in Japan, they're getting punished for it, and all they can do is cry about it. The Pokemon community is simply too bratty and entitled to function in a professional, competitive environment. And it gets even better for the disrespect coming from Western players because, again, Pokemon VGC community is just something else. So after the Japanese players swept the finals, Japanese cart luck? Crash flinches? Blind hurricane? Triple confuse hits? Must be inspected. Can't even handle the loss. So every non-Japanese VGC player is straight up cheating at Worlds, some of them just cheating so lazily that they get busted for it and disqualified, they have to cry about it, and then when the Japanese players who have a less likelihood of cheating actually win and overcome all that, they blame luck, and they also say like, yo, this is like coding and stuff. Someone said that it was possible for them to inject code to make it happen. Welcome to Pokemon. And then, as everything comes crumbling down, we have the spokesperson for VGC, Cybertron, who is a historic cheater himself back in Generation 5, trying to salvage it with all this fake positivity about how great the scene is and how inspiring the players are, even though there's just non-stop disqualifications, non-stop toxicity, and other infractions and stuff. It's insane. So, trying to praise Michael, the second place player for Pokemon Worlds. One of the most skilled single players in the world. What's crazy is he only started playing VGC 8 months ago. So we have a player coming over from like Pokemon Showdown and Smogon where they all hack anyways and then getting second place. Oh yeah, I forgot to point out that any praise for this year's Worlds is completely fraudulent because the field was gimped by having so many cheated Pokemon removed or so many players disqualified. I don't know what the amazing story is here. Pokemon isn't even considered an esport, and every other competitive gaming scene is eating Pokemon's lunch right now. Just look at EVO going crazy. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is even taking the Pokemon TCG's lunch, and the scene is so dead that a singles player can transition to VGC and then become a finalist at Worlds because all the historic VGC cheaters like Wolfey are too washed to compete anymore. And then we're not getting any new players coming in or any new players trying to come in. They're just getting bullied out by all the washed cheaters. Amazing story. Inspirational. Brings a tear to my eye. We also have Cybertron and many other players praising Simper-Q, even though they got caught cheating earlier this year. To highlight one team from Kurt's dataset, here's the first place from Vancouver, Fluttermane with 6 perfect natural IVs, also 508 EVs, maximum scale, other flaws, and then like trash bites, almost full shiny team. Disgusting. But because Cybertron is a fraud, nah, this cheater, truly something special. And of course, just random competitors posting their team, but no team code. Very suspicious. It's just so weird. The VGC community has to deny that everyone's cheating, and then when everyone gets caught cheating, they try to make excuses for it, and then at the same time, they also go, well, yeah, of course everyone cheats in competitive because it's inaccessible. So, Pokemon Worlds, it was something else, and now we just get to wait to see what Kurt finds in his hack check. So, story's not over, but that is what went down at Pokemon Worlds, and like I said, we don't even know half of how bad it really was, and we probably never will. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. This was a turn of events I was not expecting from the Pokemon World Championships. In a strange form of protest, we are seeing former Pokemon champions discuss how to cheat without getting caught as well as admitting to using hacked Pokemon. Okay, bold move. We'll see how this plays out, but I guess it might work for them because the director of esports, Chris Brown, he was in the Pokemon Presents, isn't doing anything about it. He follows these players. He's watching what's going down and is not doing anything to punish them. So, like, this is like the ultimate point where we are at a head here, and it kind of makes it interesting. But maybe, just in case Chris Brown missed these tweets, people should inform him as to what's going on with his players. So let's see how crazy this has gotten. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So heads up to people going to Pittsburgh. Most failed hack checks were due to Pokemon Legends Arceus home trackers getting wiped from trade bots. Other home trackers weren't. If you want to gin, get a base Mon caught in Scarlet and Violet, or put it in home and transfer it to Arceus and back. Reminder, Gavin Michaels is the Oceania International Champion. He cheats, he defends cheating, so just because you see the green check mark here on one of Kurt's hack checks doesn't mean they're not cheating. It just means that they still could have been cheating, just not get detected because they were hacking their Pokemon really well. Kind of shown with Wolf Glick and Marcus, confirmed cheaters in the past, also teammates. Oh, and I just realized he was in the finals for the Fresno Regionals. Hacking Pokemon gives an objective advantage. It cannot be denied. And then all these other ones where it's like, okay, don't worry, we're going to talk about players that didn't post their rental teams. We got Joe here. So, open team sheet for the Wochin team I use. That's what they're calling it now. They're not calling it rental teams. They're calling them open team sheets. So, new weasel words to get around their cheating, and then no team ID. This shouldn't be FOMO. This should be fear of hack check. So while the VGC players are in on it, they're mocking people that are against cheating, they're trying to protest the Pokemon Company, but then they also like soft deny and they don't want to get caught cheating, but everyone admits that 99% of VGC players are cheating, and then their big argument is like, oh, it's inaccessible and you can't compete without cheating. That's the argument that I use for cheating being wrong. It's unreal. We're seeing more and more posts just lying about the current state of cheating in Pokemon VGC. So we have this thread on ginning. Many agree that it makes the game more accessible and it's not a competitive advantage. And every single one of them is wrong. That you actually make it less accessible for the legitimate players, which is all that this cheating proves, is that you can't make it to Worlds without cheating. You can't top at any regional or have a chance to compete anywhere in Pokemon VGC unless you are hacking your Pokemon. And that's because it gives a massive competitive advantage to skip hundreds of hours of work over the legitimate player. Just because you can find a third-party hacking service doesn't make it okay. I guess joining an aimhack Discord now means I'm free to use an aimbot and that there's no problem with it whatsoever. No advantage. That, you know, if I wanted to put in the work to learn how to click heads, yeah, I'm just skipping that time because I just want to play the game. Theoretically, anyone can have 100% accuracy. I'm not doing any extra damage with my bullets, so there's no advantage to use an aimbot. It's not fair my athletic opponent has more time to train and a better coach than me, so it's fair that I use banned doping substances just for better recovery that don't give me a strength advantage over my opponent. But VGC players only know how to lie. Wait, you're telling me that an entire community that supports cheating is dishonest? However, no one managed to find a counter-argument to, the rules say you can't do it, so it's wrong, here I am. Just because a rule law exists doesn't mean that it's right. If you disagree, I'm glad you're not living in the USA in the 1800s or Germany in the 1940s. Now this video is demonetized, but we're comparing 1940s Germany to a video game that says don't hack. False equivalence. On top of the earlier strawman and bad faith lies. Amazing. VGC barely matters in the bigger picture, otherwise they'd never miss the opportunity to make money off of a ginning service. You immediately debunk your entire premise right there. So it's supposed to be that the Pokemon Company is bad and wrong and money hungry, which is why they're making you buy a game you should already own to compete, even though it's also like the most accessible when compared to the thousands of dollars that you need for training equipment and sports, or just a high-spec gaming computer if you want to be an FPS pro. If the Pokemon Company wanted instant Pokemon generations for profit, it would exist. But all you're showing is that the Pokemon Company isn't doing any of this out of profit. It's because hacking and cheating is wrong. These people are just so immoral, they cannot understand that most basic fact. Churning out a new generation every 3 years for merchandise, and they don't even care about making good games. You're just digging a deeper hole that's already been debunked. If it's about money, there would be a paid way of getting those Pokemon, which you would just cheat around anyways. TLDR, ginning would be morally wrong only if a small minority had access to it. Well, he actually proves a small minority has access to it. So, VGC players with at least 4 championship points in 2023, 2,700. That is the competitive VGC participating community right there. There's only 2,700 out of the 22 million. This is just proving that cheating is the problem, and it's the reason why no one wants to play. No other sport, game, or esport has ever survived because cheating made it more popular. Gatekeeping people that want to compete and follow the rules with cheating does not make a scene healthier, and needing third-party tools or third-party access is not accessibility. So yeah, and it's also bad if it hurts the profits of the multinational, which he just ranted about. Neither of these applies to VGC, another lie. Not until there will be a premium official ginning service, just rental teams, I suggest. But then everyone's going to have the same team, and then no one's going to want to compete or participate anyways. But also, it's not ginning would be morally wrong only if cheating in any game is immediately morally wrong. There is no defense for cheating in a game, and you can't make the comparison to real-life laws of horrible things happening. That's how deranged VGC is. Let's see who this is. Top 8 2017, finalist 2019 European International Championship, top 8 worlds. It's all cheaters at the top. It's unbelievable that I've been calling this out for almost a decade, and it's gone from, you're wrong, and you're just lying for list 5 because you're bad, and not everyone's cheating, to, well, yeah, of course everyone has to cheat because the game's inaccessible otherwise, even though when I started calling this out, the game was harder to and took longer to get competitive Pokemon. Now it's easier than ever, and there's more complaints because of like the entitlement and the insanity. No apologies though, no admittance to me always being right about almost everyone cheating in VGC, even like with these soft admittances about it as well. I lost my Basculegion at Worlds because instead of using my hacked one, so just admit, I had a hacked Basculegion that would have passed hack check. I got scared and switched to a clone of a friend's legitimate Basculegion the day of Worlds. And I guess because it was cloned, it didn't have, like, the Pokemon home data. But, like, a clone is still a hack. You can't clone a legal Pokemon, now you just have 2 illegal Pokemon. 2023 being the year of emboldened cheaters has also been insane, but they know that no one's going to do anything about it since Chris Brown is corrupt and completely failing the Pokemon company and the esports events. And this also proves what I've been saying for years as well about how bad the corruption is. The Pokemon Company International is covering for the cheaters and hiding all of the cheating problems that are happening outside of Japan from the Pokemon Company and Game Freak, to where when it finally goes into Japan, we are seeing disqualifications like we've never seen before. We're going to need a statement from the Pokemon Company at this point. That's why you guys got to keep sharing this video, keep sharing the story, keep making it a problem for the Pokemon Company. We need a statement. We need bans. We need something done about this, because now the cheaters feel so emboldened because the corruption is so deep at the Pokemon Company International that they're just admitting like, yeah, I'd hacked Pokemon. Also, it further shows that we still aren't going to know how many people used hacked Pokemon at Worlds that just had 1 or 2 that were removed and were disqualified, and how many players were actually just disqualified for having too many hacked Pokemon. Also, the hacked Pokemon that weren't detected and removed because the hack check has been kind of like reverse engineered, and if you hack your team really, really well, you won't get caught. And also instructing other players how to hack their Pokemon. I've talked about the massive cheating cabal back in 2016, where it's like, oh, WolfeyVGC is just friends with everyone, and all these players are cheating as well and defending cheating, but they say they don't do it, and that cheating isn't a problem, even though everyone's cheating and stuff. And then it just kind of keeps getting worse and worse over time, even as the game gets more and more accessible to get legitimate Pokemon. And I was even onto this dude because he's mocked me in the past for being against cheating, and then he drops from Worlds with 2 losses on day 2. It's 3 losses that has your dreams ended for the tournament. So I found this very suspicious. It seems like he dropped because he lost one of his ace Pokemon and he just couldn't win. without hacked Pokemon. Like, this proves that you have no skill if you cheat in Pokemon, and you cannot win without hacks, because his hacked Pokemon was removed from his team, and then he went 0-2 drop. They also did the advanced hack check day 2 before the tournament started, so we wouldn't have, like, mid-day players getting disqualified for cheating. So we don't even know how many players didn't make it into day 2. And then we can see, like, a lot of them just lost hacked Pokemon as well. And I brought it up before how just everyone is cheating. Supercut in the top 8, being praised as, like, one of the best VGC players, a big up-and-comer, but had a team of hacked Pokemon, also a lot of shiny Pokemon as well. 508 EVs, so just kind of like proving me right on everything. Everyone is cheating, and for some reason, like, fans can't cope with that, and now it's, oh, well, cheating is still correct, and if people against cheating are wrong in Pokemon now that we've all gotten caught. Now that the open secret is so out in the open that it can't be denied anymore, and it's no longer a secret, everything, like, the entire story has changed. Now it's, you're correct to protest the Pokemon Company, you're correct to cheat, here's how you do it, and they just feel too emboldened to get caught at this point. And they feel this way because there's a barrier of corruption protecting Western cheaters from the wrath of the Pokemon Company and Game Freak. But this also goes back to stories we've been covering all year, that Chris Brown retweeted a player that ran a side event at an official VGC event who just genned in and hacked in all the teams for players to use, like, these specific rentals. No punishments, no nothing, just gotta keep covering it up, keep brushing it up. Now that we've seen, like, all these bans and the entire tournament just kind of getting run over by disqualifications and removed Pokemon, like, something has to be done. And now this is when we apply the most pressure. This is how we win. And the best part, Kurt hasn't even dropped his hack check yet. Keep putting the pressure on now, keep sharing, keep retweeting, keep making sure everyone understands what is going on with the cheating in the Pokemon community. Keep making noise, make this unavoidable for the Pokemon Company, and then it's only going to get better whenever Kurt decides to release what he has found. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I got a hold of something the Pokemon Company doesn't want me to have. The ineligible players list, where Gavin Michaels received an indefinite ban just a few days ago.
Overload. Pleasure overload. Mwah!
Now, if you don't know who Gavin Michaels is, he's the person that instructed people how to cheat after Pokemon Worlds and admitted to using cheated Pokemon. Wait a second, the tweet's deleted. Oh, I guess that's why. Let me go and fix that. Heads up to people going to Pittsburgh, most failed hack checks were due because Pokemon Legends Arceus home trackers were getting wiped from trade bots. The other home trackers weren't. If you want to gen, get a base Mon caught in Scarlet and Violet, or put it in home and transfer to Arceus and back. Just specifics on how to get away with the cheating that got massively punished with disqualifications at Pokemon Worlds. Also, he featured in Pokemon Challenges video. Wait, Pokemon Challenges video is gone as well. Well, if you need a refresher on that one, it was when he made his own tournament because everyone claims Pokemon World sucked for punishing cheaters. Yeah, the Pokemon community is rotten and toxic, and now we're seeing some weird stuff. So you can watch my video, Pokemon Challenges is Evil, if you want to catch up on that. But yo, everything's getting deleted, everything's getting purged, and Gavin's got an indefinite ban. Someone in the VGC community tipped me off to this when it happened, but no one made a public statement about the ban, so I didn't really have too much to go off of. Also, Gavin is trying to get an appeal, so he's not going to make a statement until whatever happens with that appeal goes through. And Gavin believes he got disqualified for what he said in the Pokemon Challenges video, but since that video has been privated, we can't see exactly what he said. However, I think the answer is a lot more simple, and this post was deleted as well for telling people how to cheat in the same way, and what the Pokemon Company was looking for. Now, I can't be too happy about this because it's only one of the countless cheaters that were disqualified at the Pokemon World Championships, and it looks like this isn't a ban directly from cheating, but more instructing players how to cheat, which also has a weird parallel we just covered from the Pokemon TCG, where yesterday I talked about Jay's ban appeal. He believes the reason he was disqualified is because he wrote an article for 60 Cards talking about how to get away with slow play. The article in question dived into strategy many top players use to gain an advantage by manipulating their tempo of play. So it's kind of, again, admitting that it's an open secret among top players. All the top players are cheating in TCG, all the top players are cheating in VGC. Welcome to Pokemon, and how it does make a big difference, which is why everyone's cheating. And it's also really weird that a top player of many years thought that this was a gray area in the rules. So someone playing for over 8 years that got first place at the Pokemon World Championships in the past had never read the rules. What I thought was a gray area of the game turns out to be strictly against the rules. I no longer believe that these actions are okay, but the article was instructing exactly how players get away with slow play, and then there was even like an admittance. I'll be blunt here, in the midst of the article, I admitted to using these strategies myself at the time, which was true. So this ban happened back in 2018, it's indefinite. This was a post that happened back in September because he was like, 5 years is too long. But, I mean, that's 3 strikes, you're out. Admitting to cheating, instructing cheating, and then also having 2 other offenses in the past. You have no right to play Pokemon at that point. Stay out. But unfortunately, stories like this are few and far between. So there's a lot of disqualifications in Pokemon, but there's definitely not enough bans inside of Pokemon, and the list is obscured. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Just straight publishes it. You can search in Google Yu-Gi-Oh! Banned Players List, and you go to the list of all the players that have been banned and then have their ban lifted because of the time, or players that are currently banned. And you can even see the reason for the ban. What did Joseph Andrew do to get a 5-year ban? But also, we can see many players have been banned in Yu-Gi-Oh's history because they actually ban their players. Now, I'm sitting on a little bit of extra information about banned players, but I want to see how that plays out before making a video on it. However, it's still an absolute travesty that players got disqualified for cheating at the Pokemon World Championships and didn't receive a ban of any kind. They just got disqualified. That's just why Pokemon is a joke. Pokemon will never be an esport. Chris Brown, Alpha Zealot, has to be deranged to have any pride for what he's created as the director for global esports and Pokemon events. Also, opinions are my mine. That's very professional. The Pokemon 2023 World Championships was an absolute disgrace, and we've seen no statement from the director of global esports, the Pokemon company, or even casters like Cybertron. Cybertron was making all this fake stuff like, wow, the narrative that a Smogon player can transition to VGC and make it to finals in just a year really shows how great our scene is. But we already know Cybertron, Aaron Zhang, is a cheater from the past, and now he's just looking out for all of his cheating friends, and there's just nothing to the scene. The problem with the corruption in the Pokemon Company is that they only issue bans when they absolutely need to, and it seems like they really don't want to ban players at all, no matter how much they cheat. For Pokemon, it seems like they only care about egregious behavior, like if you try to make a scene after getting disqualified for cheating, kind of like what we saw with the Korean championships, where then they did like a metronome team and they tried to bastardize like the Korean championship finals or something. Then all 4 of them got permanently banned for making a spectacle out of it, even though they should have just been banned for cheating anyways. Same thing when like, oh, you have to instruct people how to cheat and then say cheating is okay before any kind of punishment might get handed down, even though if you cheat at the World Championships, that should be a 3-year ban minimum. Here's how you handle it. Here's how you save Pokemon, because the reason why there's so much cheating in VGC and TCG is that there's no fear of punishment whatsoever. Get caught at Worlds, 3 years. Internationals, 2 years. Regionals, 1 year. Any getting caught a second time, permaban. There's no way you can say that isn't fair. You cheat at the largest event, you're out for a generation. You cheat at regionals, just calm it down for a bit, reflect, and now you have a year to train your Pokemon legitimately. Use that time wisely. And if you're a repeat cheater, well, yeah, that should just be a permaban in any sport, esport, or form of competition. So yeah, we got some weird stuff going on, but it also just kind of shows the arrogance and how much cheating is inside of Pokemon, with the bragging, the gloating, the just like, hey, the Pokemon company isn't going to punish us, we only got disqualified from Worlds, here's how you don't get disqualified at any event. Other players have been taking part in this and supporting content defending cheating, like Pokemon challenges and I'm a Blissy's videos, but we're not seeing any other punishment. So either it's like so big and maybe the Pokemon company is cooking up something huge. It almost feels like a blank slate kind of thing. Like, okay, all the cheating before 2023, we're just going to memory hole that and forget about it. But if you get caught now, you've had more than enough warning. You've gotten away with it for too long. Now we're going to start handing out bans. So we're going to have to see how it develops. Like if the Pokemon company ups the hack check again to catch the other things that Kurt has been talking about, and then we just start seeing like ban waves off of that, great, then I can be excited. Then the future of Pokemon is looking bright, unless WolfeyVGC doesn't get banned. Like you just can't let someone get away with cheating at your 25th Invitational event, as well as other online events and Worlds. But after what's happened, I have more optimism than ever, and we're going to see what happens. There's also just a chance that the Pokemon company remains corrupt and Gavin effectively becomes that one guy from the 2008 financial crisis that took the fall. Like, here's your crumb. Or maybe it was to appease Mr. Nintendo. Like, see, we banned one of the cheaters. Please let us keep our scene. So weird stuff is happening, but the future is a bit more interesting because of it. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. We have an update about Gavin Michaels and his ban from Play Pokemon. Over a month ago, I covered his indefinite suspension for instructing players how to bypass the hack check. Well, he has finally spoken out, and unfortunately, the sentence has been reduced to a year, and he said, see y'all, and posted the emails from Pokemon support. Now, I'm making this video to cover a couple of things. One, to further show the corruption inside of Play Pokemon and the Pokemon Company International, but also because inside of the VGC community, there was a narrative that he wasn't banned for the instruction on how to hack check. Instead, it was like Israel-Palestine tweets and being too political on Twitter or something, and then people trying to use that against me, like, oh, Realistify is wrong. No, Realistify always right. So here's what the Pokemon Company had to say. Due to information the Play Pokemon program has received regarding widespread promotion and education on how to circumvent our tournament rules and policies, the rules compliance team has determined it to be in our best interest that your eligibility to participate in Play Pokemon programs be suspended indefinitely. And they say, like, Play Pokemon programs. That would be all of Play Pokemon, which is 100% deserved if you're a cheater that has been caught cheating, that has won regional tournaments, that qualified for Worlds, that was disqualified from Worlds, and then instructed players how to bypass the hack check so they wouldn't be disqualified. You 100% need an indefinite suspension from any competitive scene about that game. Who knows how many hundreds of cheaters didn't get disqualified because they saw Gavin's post about how to get past the hack check and what the new hack check is looking for from the Pokemon Company. Like, that is such a disrespect to the game while also being a confirmed cheater that there is no reason anyone should be allowed to compete at that point. After reviewing your appeal, the rules compliance team has decided to reduce the suspension on your eligibility to participate in Play Pokemon from indefinite to 1 year. From your initial appeal date. Your suspension will be lifted on November 28th. This just further proves that the Pokemon Company International and Play Pokemon is just a cabal of cheaters that all look out for each other. This is a complete failing of the rules compliance team, and 1 year is as much of a joke as it can be. 2 years, while still being a travesty, is still a little better than going from indefinite to 1 year for a cheater that instructed players how to bypass the hack check because they were mad they got caught cheating. In no other tournament, in no other competitive sport, esport, or game would anything like this happen. That it just shows like how corrupt and backwards Pokemon is. It also further proves that, like, oh yeah, no one in Play Pokemon or no VGC players actually read the rules. So then we just get this garbage. I own up to doing what I'm banned for. No, you're still a cheater. You still defend cheating. You don't care about legitimacy at all in Pokemon. I was in violation of 3.3 of the standards of conduct. I'm grateful that the ban was reduced, and I can finally explain what happened publicly. There's nothing to explain. You got caught cheating at Worlds, and then you got an indefinite ban for explaining how to bypass the hack check, and that is 100% the deserved punishment for this rule breaking right here. So yeah, it's a gross infringement of community standards, and it gets reduced to a year? There is no appeal in the world that should be able to accomplish that. And then, yeah, it says, distribution, promotion, or engagement in the modification of video game software or hacking. I mean, even then, like, with the engagement in the modification of video game software, that should just be a branch on Rule 4.3, which, like, further shows, like, yeah, all these players need to be banned for having hacked Pokemon. To clarify, since I'm getting a lot of questions about this, I was banned for promotion of hacking, not for using hacked Pokemon, or anything else on the list, because yeah, like deception, defrauding, explicit content, promotion stuff. I don't understand how there could be any question. It's clear what he was suspended for. But the hacked Pokemon at the World Championships seemingly not being a consideration for the suspension or being weighed against the appeal further shows just like, there is no integrity in Play Pokemon or the Pokemon Company at this point, and there is no reason to participate in VGC because of how corrupt it is, which goes to the next part of this video, because I want to keep talking about the corruption inside of it. This isn't a Gavin-only video. So I posted about this on Twitter, and now it just kind of like makes more sense than ever, and it also puts context on Pokemon Worlds 2023. I've had multiple sources give me this information. So, got this from a judge. Feel free to spread it on an anonymous basis to your fan base, as I think it's relevant to your cause. New hack check was first implemented at the top 8 of the North American International Challenge 2023. None of the players passed the hack check. Because of that, it would have left the tournament top cut without players, and then TPCI instructed the head judge to ignore the hack check and proceed as if it hadn't been done. Yes, the Pokemon Company is more of the problem than the solution. I've been saying that because, like, this further proves corruption. When you look at the rulings, when you look at the handling of disqualifications at the 2023 World Championship, and then when you see, like, the North American International Challenge, the second largest event for the Pokemon VGC, everyone in the top 8 was cheating, and then they couldn't actually, like, go through with the hack check. They effectively tested it here, and then they realized, like, oh, everyone's cheating. And then that at least gave them confidence that they're going to catch a lot of people at Worlds, and then they did. But to not just ban everyone and be like, oh, we need to do something about our scene is disgusting. And this also has to further show how much lying is happening between the Pokemon Company International and the Pokemon Company. I feel like the Pokemon Company International is playing cover to protect their jobs, to protect their players, and hide from, like, Game Freak and the Japanese side of Pokemon, because, oh, once Pokemon Worlds went to Japan, these players are getting disqualified, they're getting removed, and they're lucky their punishment isn't anything more. And I'm also wondering, like, where's the statement from the Pokemon Company, the Japanese side, or even Play Pokemon, or Chris Brown about all the cheating that we saw? Still nothing, even though it was a record amount of cheating, and it only gets worse. And it gets, like, even crazier when you realize, oh wait, the same thing happened at the North American International Championship, so it's just all corrupt. And I'd like to think that the Pokemon Company of Japan is still being kept in the dark by all of the corruption, but who even knows at this point? But then that was backed up when I had another person say the same thing. They test the World's hack check at top 8, all 8 was genned, they kept moving because the solution would be to not play at the top cut. Both these people said that the information came from a judge, and that's how they, like, knew about what happened at the North American International Championship. And then if we can look at the top 8 for North American International Championship, there should actually be no surprises here on who's a cheater, further proving that hacked Pokemon give such a massive advantage in Pokemon VGC. It is impossible to compete as a legitimate player. It's not like, oh, you can't win because of all the cheating. No, you can't even top because all of the cheating. And no wonder you keep seeing the same names over and over again because they're all cheaters. And they get a free pass into top cut, not because of their skill, but because they're cheating. And then this works for stealing championship points, prize money, world's placements, and all of that other stuff, because just a big cheating cabal and the Pokemon Company International and Play Pokemon is friends with everyone. Cheaters like Cybertron looking out for all of his buddies, and then you're not allowed to expose or say anything about this because then the entire scene falls apart, even though if the only thing keeping VGC alive is cheating, you don't deserve to have a scene at all, even though it's like a complete lie. VGC attendance would go up. Everything would improve about VGC if cheaters were actually punished. And it turns out a lot of people aren't cheating scumbags. If it comes down to break the rules or don't participate, they're not going to participate. So it's only going to improve everything about the scene to actually enforce the rules. And Pokemon VGC is still one of the most accessible competitive scenes, even if you have to train your Pokemon legitimately. It takes less time to be elite than any other esport, way less money and time than any other sport, competition, Olympics or something, and then I've done the chess comparison to death, but it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of hours to become a chess Grand Master. But then all these brats are doing with the Pokemon Championship is just cheating, and then they get a free ticket to Worlds. So there we go, guys. That's the update on Pokemon VGC. Another in the long list of corruption and cheaters, and hopefully something happens. Like, every time something happens, I'm like, surely, this has to be it. WolfeyVGC, 100% confirmed cheater with multiple hacked teams and constant hacked Pokemon throughout his entire career. You cannot deny this evidence. Oh, the idiots denied the evidence anyways. And then we also have, like, wait, we just had multiple world champions get confirmed for using hacked Pokemon. Nope, nothing there. Prize money, championship points, overwhelmingly going to confirmed cheaters, and now record disqualifications at Pokemon Worlds, players gloating about their cheating, not getting punishments or getting slaps on the wrist, and then still not improving. So, like, it's an insane amount of corruption, and that's why I keep covering it. Like, something has to break, something has to give. This has to get the right amount of attention. This has to get someone diving into it. My dream is that one day Carl looks at this and goes, my god, Pokemon is actually the most cheated scene in all of gaming. Or some other, like, large commentary figure talking about this and, like, really exposing what's going on and how disgusting the Pokemon community is and how bad the competitive scene is with all of the cheating and just the derangement to be like, yep, cheating's okay, but it doesn't exist, but if it did exist, it's still okay and there's no problems whatsoever, and Verlicify bad. So all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but I'll continue to be the only good Poketuber. I will continue to do the right thing. And that's kind of it. Not really a hope you guys enjoy the video, have a nice day kind of thing, but there's your news. You can't find a community in gaming worse than Pokemon. You just can't. The cheating has gotten beyond insane because everyone has always been cheating in competitive Pokemon. You want an example? Take your pick from the many videos I've already done that you can find in the description down below. And if you're as jaded about the Pokemon community as I am, please leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and share this video with all your friends so the madness can actually get some exposure. The general gaming community got to see it with Palworld when, oh, every argument against Palworld, like, turned out to be a lie because it's just all derangement from Pokemon fans. But now it's like, oh wait, the Pokemon Company has been punishing cheaters since Worlds, and they just can't cope. So Knoxville, we had more disqualifications, more removed Pokemon, more cheaters being exposed, and the response is, this is a Verlis fever dream. What? This is where the extreme insanity of the Pokemon community gets baffling, because I'm just a dude. I decided to talk about Pokemon over a decade ago in videos, and I got popular because I'm really fucking good at Pokemon, and then that translated out. But then, the Pokemon community realized they made a mistake. They gave publicity to someone that's against cheating. I follow the rules. I don't gen. I don't hack my games. I don't take shortcuts. And then I use my platform to be one of the only people that's vocal, that stood against cheating in the Pokemon community. And that's made me the ultimate enemy of the Pokemon community because it's all brats, scumbags, and bad actors that don't want to work for any of their things. Pokemon is the only community in competition, like in all forms of competition, esports, games, sports, where cheating is ruthlessly defended and supported. The reasoning for a majority of people in the Pokemon community has become Verlis bad, therefore cheating good. And if you defend cheating, you're only a mindless Verlis clone, even though it's cheating! It's against the rules. Following the rules. Not hacking your game, not breaking TOS, not disadvantaging other players, only exists because of me, somehow, in the Pokemon community. That's how deranged it is, and I am rent-free in every VGC player's head because 99.9% of them are cheaters. And the Pokemon community has become so deranged, they can't formulate any cognitive thought. Like, this is not the statement that is made of this situation where cheaters are getting disqualified at recent regionals. So Knoxville is really turning into a Verless fever dream. No, a fever dream is generally a bad thing. This is a wet dream, and it's actually not even my wet dream. That's when players start getting banned, especially WolfeyVGC. I might have to open up an OnlyFans to celebrate when Wolf finally gets the permaban he deserves. It sucks so hard seeing him soy jack over the DQs, but it sucks even harder not really being able to say anything to him about it. Not blocked. Not blocked. That's how I found this, because it appeared in my feed. I don't even go searching for this. Like, people be like, oh, look how rent-free we are in Verless's head. He just can't stop looking at us and reacting to it. No, that cheating is talked about so much in Pokemon, just keeps coming into my Twitter feed and social media feed, or one of my fans goes, yo, you gotta see this insanity. I don't go searching for this stuff. It finds me, because, again, there is no such thing as legitimacy in Pokemon. There's only being a Verless, and it's so freaking weird. But like, what do you mean you can't say anything to me about it? You are completely free to say something to me about it, but then you just look like a moron because you're trying to make an argument for cheating. And like, the cognitive dissonance in the Pokemon community, I've been calling out for over the decade I've been making Pokemon videos and doing Pokemon content, because it's always been insane. And that was one of the driving forces behind this channel, because I'm just like, yeah, Smogon sucks, cheating sucks, no one's talking about it, I'm the GOAT. Okay, YouTube is... anyone can make a YouTube video, let's go. And then they responded, the eternal struggle. To what? What struggle? No blocks. Anyone can address me at any time, but then they know that they get absolutely annihilated in any argument because, oh, cheating is wrong. And the Pokemon community just like expose themselves as being the worst by not being able to accept that, and then going completely insane over the inability to cope when cheaters get disqualified. All they have are hypotheticals and being completely detached from every single other form of competition in the history of humanity. They just say, well, what if the Pokemon company allowed hacking? They don't, which is why it's against the rules and players are getting disqualified and they deserve bans for this behavior. And then they say, well, it wouldn't be fair if you had to carve your own chess pieces or make your own soccer ball, ignoring that there is no reality where this thought experiment works, because those are not the rules of the game, and we can't even begin to fathom the repercussions of those being the rules of chess or soccer. Whereas we have Pokemon where the rules are clearly stated, ginning is cheating. There's no such thing as legal cheating, there's no such thing as legal hacking, but these weirdos have completely convinced themselves of it, and then it just gets more and more insane. Here's your VGC Twitter breakdown for today. Cheater wins Knoxville Regional and broke the winner pose meta because it's all just terminally online nonsense that doesn't matter, which is also why there's no Pokemon esports. The entire competitive scene is a complete joke. Broke the winner pose meta on stream graphics, had 2 Incineroars on his team. That's not breaking any kind of meta, and like, why does the pose even matter? That also just kind of shows like, oh, the production value is just dog shit, okay? Ogerpon Wellspring, new queen of VGC, beat out Fluttermane in day 2 usage. Whatever. This dude's still using Tyranitar and doing better than 95% people reading this tweet have ever done at regionals. So we have random disrespect about a nobody in the Pokemon community. Whatever. People who openly admit they don't know anything about VGC are here to tell you to stop ginning again. Again, more nonsense from this toxic community that only knows how to lie. I've never admitted that I don't know anything about VGC. I'm actually one of the best VGC players. You remove all the cheaters, I go straight to the top. What I have admitted to is not following the hack-accelerated metagame that changes every 3 to 4 hours because of the time it takes to test a team, fail, and then just keep remaking it in PK Hex until you end up succeeding with it. That's not anything worth following, that's not an actual competitive scene, and it's all focused around cheating, so it's not worth my time. So this is just a lie before we even get into the bad faith sentiment about how people are here to tell you to stop ginning. The Pokemon company is telling you to not gin in the rules and then reinforcing it with disqualifications, and then players cry about it and receive sympathy because the Pokemon community is rotten. This cheater, who is a former regional champion who has me blocked, had a mental breakdown because they got caught cheating. Since I got disqualified, I will not be competing tomorrow. I will also be taking a long break from VGC and social media. This disqualification completely crushed me inside, and it might take a while for me to pick up this game again. Logging out for now. Goodbye for a while. Absolutely disgusting. Why is there any sympathy for cheaters that got caught? Before I delete Twitter off my phone, I know a lot of people are worried about me due to the disqualification. I will be okay, but I don't think I'll touch VGC for a while. If anyone is worried about me, please know I'll be okay. I need time. This is very done right now. Deleting Twitter. Just detaching from social media because they got caught cheating. Absolutely insane. And then, of course, all the replies are just sympathy. And just the open toxicity of the Pokemon community. TCG player here, Jin Moore. Jin Harder, actually. Insane. Let's see, some cheater has me blocked. What are they saying? This has been my entire timeline today. I am so tired. Help. The VGC community has brought this upon themselves by becoming entirely cheating, and then they just cannot accept accountability for their actions and scumbaggery. And then it gets tiring, and then they need to just uninstall social media and just take a break from Pokemon because now that cheating is getting caught, they just can't cope. But it just fires me up sometimes. The Pokemon Company disqualifying cheaters for breaking the rules that have already existed fires them up, and they have to project that onto me. Like, it's my fault the Pokemon Company enforces their rules because VGC has become so insane. Gen as much as you can, but do it with common sense. So everything just like, keep genning. Just keep breaking the rules until the Pokemon Company has to do something, because it feels like they think they're going to win, but also the corruption of the Pokemon Company makes it kind of sketchy on like how this is going to break down. Like, if Wolf does not come out of this with a permaban, then yeah, the entire thing is lost. Smogon player who recently became a VGC player. I think genning Pokemon is really funny. Pokemon Showdown is why I don't play console VGC. Genning is base, grinding and breeding is cringe. So there we go, cheating based again, because that's just how worthless the average person in like 90% of the Pokemon community is. And then just other wild takes. I play competitive Pokemon means I spend countless hours practicing on Showdown just to get disqualified by a head judge for an arbitrary reason. The rules are not an arbitrary reason. Like, not hacking your game, breaking TOS, and cheating with third-party software is not an arbitrary reason. And it's also not the head judge, it's the rules of the event. The head judge doesn't arbitrarily go, yeah, you, get out of here for cheating. No, the hack check flags, that is also run by other people running the tournament. The hack check flags, and then they have to go, sir, yeah, here's how you broke the rules. Gone. Now, the evolution of cheating in VGC has been insane because it's always been only cheaters winning Pokemon VGC events, going back to Generation 4, going back to Generation 5. There was always a denial and gaslighting in the beginning that a full team of shiny legendary Pokemon with hidden power, no, that's completely possible, therefore it's not cheating. You're not allowed to call a full team of shiny Pokemon cheating, you're just an idiot. So then the community of entirely cheaters got complacent because they weren't getting punished, and that's when you could actually prove cheating through just straight up impossibilities, like Wolf-Glick Stream Ball Raichu, Porygon 2 inside of a Beast Ball, and we also had the, like, shiny Incineroar inside of a Premier Ball. So, objective, undeniable, hacked Pokemon, but then it's, okay, so some people are cheating, but it's not a problem, and then making the whole legal, legit, hacked lie, and all these other, like, insane arguments to defend it, and now it's, okay, everyone's cheating, but here's why it's a good thing. But then when the Pokemon community, like, felt emboldened, and they were like, aha, we can get away with saying that after Worlds, and then people started getting disqualified and banned, now we're seeing the pullback. No, it's innocent players getting disqualified. It was that poor person that had the Cresselia from a friend at Worlds that got disqualified and they don't want to play Pokemon anymore, even though having perfect IVs back in Generation 5 wasn't possible, so they always knew that that was a hacked Cresselia, and they chose to bring it to Worlds. But now this community of all cheaters is trying to go back to, no, it's not hacking, these players are innocent. Now the Pokemon Company is extra in the wrong, and they actually want it to be stated why. There's been enough effort put into creating rules and checks that can be properly explained an error in a Pokemon, and appeals aren't accepted. There should be ample explanation as to what went wrong, or at least admit the gray area. There isn't a gray area, there is no misjudging. And now we're seeing the new thing of players wanting the Pokemon Company to make an official tool so they can check their Pokemon to see if they're legal before they get disqualified, when all that means is like people are just going to hack their Pokemon, keep running it into the tool until it flags clean, and then use that and still get away with cheating. Or one explanation so they can dodge the reason why they got disqualified the next time. Insanity. So yeah, I remain the rent-free ultimate evil in the Pokemon community because I say the rules say no cheating, and it just makes sense that cheating is wrong and that hacking your game is absolutely cheating no matter what Pokemon comes out as the result of that. That's how it works for every other form of competition ever. That makes me the bad guy, and then now that players are getting disqualified, unfortunately not banned, it's just getting crazier and crazier, and the Pokemon community just absolutely cannot cope at this point. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Cheating is such a huge problem in Pokemon that it's starting to go mainstream, and garbage news outlets like Polygon are covering it. And of course, they defend cheating, which should actually be all the proof that cheating is wrong. There we go. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Don't click off the video. It's bad for the algorithm. Need the watch time. Also, like, comment, share this video with all your friends. But now we gotta dismantle this article. And it already starts so disgusting, so dishonest. Why it's okay that so many top Pokemon players cheat, in quotations. And here's how you know that everyone using hacked Pokemon knows what they're doing is wrong and they're just being dishonest about it. That there is no cheat in quotations. This is cheating by definition. A hacked Pokemon is illegal by the rules in all situations, and you have to act dishonestly to use that illegal Pokemon in tournament. People using hacked Pokemon can't be vocal about it, and they certainly can't tell tournament officials because they're cheating. And then this part doesn't make any sense. This is supposed to be the hook. This is supposed to kind of tell a little bit extra about the story after the title. But getting the right Pokemon can be a grind if you don't hack. Wait, that's it? It's okay because grinding is bad, even though every form of competition ever demands grinding? No real argument, no twisted self-righteous reasoning, just work bad? Oh, this is gonna be a disaster. Does a Pikachu lose legitimacy if you didn't organically breed it and train it yourself? What if you hacked a copy of the game and created it? Both are virtual, but is one less valid? Yes, hacking a Pokemon goes against all of the values of the franchise because you are a Pokemon trainer. I don't think any of the great philosophers pondered the ethics of hacked Pokemon, but these questions have long served as the center of debate within the ranks of the world's best competitive Pokemon players. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever read. That is 65 IQ optimistically. This midwit thinks it's like, oh yes, by bringing up philosophy and starting with a question that actually is just a lie. These aren't the questions that have long served the center of debate. This is the most diluted take to poison the well, and then it just goes into complete nonsense. No, philosophers didn't know what a Pokemon was or could even imagine the virtual world, but we still have core values about competition. That without rules and ethics, it is impossible to have fair play. And that's why cheating is wrong. So no, while they couldn't specifically work on the ethics of hacked Pokemon, the ethics of cheating has already been solved, but you losers can't cope. During the 2023 Pokemon World Championships in Japan, a number of players were disqualified for using hacked Pokemon. In a recent interview with Gameland GG, one pro player estimated as many as 90% of players in tournaments use hacked Pokemon. I have an interview with Pokemon World's 2022 second place who also got cheating, and he believes at least 95% of players at Pokemon World's 2023 were using hacked Pokemon. It's kind of insane how it went from no one's cheating, all those full shiny teams and legendaries and perfect hidden power Pokemon, nah, that's not hacking at all, cheating isn't a problem, to yeah, everyone's cheating, but that's a good thing, and it's not cheating, but it wouldn't be a problem even if it was cheating. Because that's how much, like, there's no argument to defend cheating, and that's why you only find the defense of cheating inside of Pokemon, because the entire competitive community is a joke and completely toxic. Let's see how they try to rationalize this. To some, this reveal is scandalous. Yeah, players, like, okay, so if there's nothing wrong with this, then why were the players disqualified? Also, why is it only cheaters winning this event if it doesn't give any kind of advantage? So yeah, that's why this is scandalous. These are supposed to be the world's best players. Why would they need to cheat? I mean, it's obvious. Why does anyone cheat? Because it makes it easier to win. That's it. End of story. Nothing else to defend or say because it's all lies after that. However, the debate brings up genuine questions about the challenges of training and catching Pokemon fit for competitive play. It also brings up questions about the strictness of the rules behind competitive play and the way current versions of Pokemon, including Scarlet and Violet, lack certain gameplay features that would benefit top competitive players. Alright, let's see how strict these rules really are. I only flashed them on screen in the beginning because I'm trying to cover up for the rules, cover up for Pokemon Company, that these are just completely indefensible. The use of external devices, such as a mobile app, to modify or create items or Pokemon in a player's battle team is expressly forbidden. Players found to have Pokemon or items that have been tampered with may receive a disqualification regardless of whether the Pokemon or items belong to that player or were traded for. They're saying don't hack your game to cheat. Those are the impossibly strict rules of competitive Pokemon, somehow. But why do so many competitive Pokemon players cheat and hack? Let's see the excuses. First, it's important to note that competitors are not using hacks to create Pokemon that surpass the limits of what's mathematically or strategically possible in the game. That doesn't matter in any capacity. It's still an illegal Pokemon by definition of the rules. Also, it depends on how far you go back. Generation 6 and earlier, these top players are bringing multiple Pokemon that are 1 in billions of odds to obtain. So compared to someone that isn't cheating, they have Pokemon that are impossible to obtain. And like, what does strategically possible mean? More garbage words. A Pokemon's stats vary within a set range based on a number of factors. Take a Pokemon like Dragonite and its speed stat. Lowest possible Dragonite will always be faster than the fastest possible Slowbro because the range of Dragonite's speed stat is higher than Slowbro's. If you use a hack Slowbro in your team that was faster than Dragonite, that would be clear-cut cheating because it's not possible to achieve by playing the game normally. I can already feel the well being poisoned again. A high-tier player wouldn't hack the game to create a Slowbro that can outspeed a Dragonite. Instead, they will hack in a Dragonite that has the best stats a Dragonite could possibly have. That sounds like cheating! Where they just said, yeah, they hack in a thing that is the best possible thing. You could get this Dragonite legitimately in-game, but without hacking, you'd have to spend time and a lot of in-game resources on training the Dragonite to max out stats. So cheating is giving an advantage of time and saving resources or not having to acquire those resources. I still haven't seen how this is cheating. One Pokemon might not take much time to train, but pro players are often iterating on an idea dozens of times across all 6 Pokemon they'd have on their team, which adds up to hours and hours spent making the Pokemon rather than battling with them. Okay, what is this rather than battling with them? All you're admitting is that hacking Pokemon gives an advantage, and if that advantage is obtained through breaking the rules, then it's the definition of cheating. This part's just saying that there's quality of life features that make it easier, but then people still resort to a save file editor, PK hacks, to create Pokemon with precise stats. It's so weird, you know, when they're trying to, like, you can tell the language differs depending on, like, what they're trying to lead towards. Instead of saying hack Pokemon with stats, they're saying create, you know, just creating a Pokemon just like how you would create it with training inside of the game. So is the cheating good or bad? Depends on whether you consider the labor of catching, breeding, and training Pokemon to be an essential component of a competitor's performance. That's some dishonest language right there, because it's just a part of the rules. Like, that's it. End of story. You must have a Pokemon that is legally obtained, and training is a core part of any competitor's performance in any part of competition. It's not only what happens on the field. You do not train football by only doing scrimmage matches of football. You need to work out. You need to focus on your diet. External factors like a coach are going to affect your performance inside of the game. You're not allowed to use banned substances in sports to make up for out-of-game deficiencies. Most forms of doping don't make you a human with impossible stats or make you unnaturally stronger than you would be. A lot of it is to increase training efficiency and recovery time, which gives you an advantage over other competitors, which is why it's still banned. It's worth noting, the best players aren't great solely because they have a perfectly built team. That's just a complete lie proven by the entire history of competitive Pokemon, where it's virtually only cheaters doing well at events, leading to 90%, or actually well over 90% of competitors using cheated Pokemon because it gives such an advantage, being the best cheater means absolutely nothing in regards to skill. Many players could undertake the hours and hours of work required to create perfect Pokemon. The really weird thing about this article is some parts of it seem to be really introductory for like any regular gamer that stumbles across it and goes, wait, what's going on with this cheating problem in Pokemon and is it wrong? So it's really dumbed down, and then just kind of like glosses over a lot of things and makes assumptions that you already understand what's going on inside of competitive Pokemon. So just horrible writing to begin with, but not like it like saying exactly how much it is because it hurts their argument. No, it's hundreds of hours over the course of a year, and even more over a generation, or if you're trying to like keep up with competitive Pokemon in the long run. So like, yeah, if you read hours and hours and you don't understand anything about what's going on, you might be thinking like, what, they only skip like 5 hours, 10 hours? No, it's hundreds. And in the past, it was just an impossible Pokemon to obtain within the realism of time. WolfClick's 2016 Raichu that you might have heard something about is a 1 in 25 million soft reset, and it was a discontinued special event Pokemon. If you do a reset a minute, let's go and divide that by 60, going to take over 400,000 of hours of soft resetting non-stop at 1 reset a minute to get that Raichu on average. He also had other hatch legendary Pokemon that are very low odds and take a long time to soft reset, so getting his team would take about 500,000 hours. No one could realistically do that, and if you're that lucky, you should just be winning the lottery instead of playing competitive Pokemon. And it's just so weird how it's only champions that are also the luckiest people to ever exist without any documentation, where no one else has even done anything remotely close to obtaining the Pokemon that they've obtained. So in the best case argument for defending hatch Pokemon, the cheater has over 100 hours of advantage over a legitimate player for training, experience, also infinitely more resources with obtainable Pokemon, as well as energy, because it's tiring to train Pokemon and grind for over 100 hours and then replace your team and then have failures and then have to change up your team and keep adapting to the meta. Also, the meta is accelerated when everyone's like hacking and just cycling through teams and practice really quick. So it becomes impossible to keep up with the hacking players because, duh, cheating is wrong. It's even admitting here that it's a labor to catch, breed, and train Pokemon. It's a labor to follow the rules, so energy is a big factor. What makes a top player is the ability to read, predict, and react to different strategies that a challenger is using. Put another way, it would be like playing chess, but you have to take a ton of extra time to carve out your piece. Oh my fucking god! They squeaked in the chess argument. I actually can't believe it. But first I have to debunk this part, which is weird because it proves that this is a lie, because if the ability for a player to read, predict, and react to strategies is what makes them great, these are skills that are practiced. You use experience to develop this. It's not like, oh, a player is great because they're just born with these talents and no one else can obtain them and that's what makes them superior. So if everyone's just kind of battling with the same Pokemon, then the naturally gifted players win out and that's how competition should work. No, what makes competitive Pokemon great from a legitimate side is the balance. Everyone only has a limited amount of time to train and practice, but again, that's true of all forms of competition, so it doesn't allow or excuse cheating inside of Pokemon, and you have to kind of find that balance. Like, okay, do I maybe make a team that's suboptimal? Maybe not stat-wise, but it's like, okay, I was only able to make this one team. I can maybe change 1 or 2 Pokemon. I don't really have too much time left, but you also need to dedicate some time to learning the meta, developing these skills, and then gaining experience with your team. You can't just research everything that there is to know about Pokemon and then be perfectly proficient with every Pokemon team and every strategy. You also need to play with the team you're using. So if you get that team faster, you're able to gain more experience and be more proficient with it. If any of this is gained through breaking the rules, it's cheating by definition. But then, like, this is beyond stupid. It would be like playing chess if you have to take a ton of extra time, still won't say like the dozens or hundreds of hours, to carve out the pieces themselves, in addition to experimenting with different strategies. It is not the rules of chess to carve out pieces. Here's how you know that everyone defending cheating is either dishonest or an idiot. We cannot envision a world where these are the rules of chess and then use that to justify hacking in Pokemon because we have no idea of the implications of what happens. If anything, it actually proves that cheating gives an advantage in Pokemon because the player that breaks the rules and doesn't hand carve their chess pieces while everyone else is doing it is going to have more time to learn different strategies and experiment and then have an advantage on the board in chess. But okay then, like, if Pokemon deserves to die as a competitive game because playing by the rules is too difficult or not worth it, then so be it. Like, no one's entitled to a competitive Pokemon scene existing. And we also don't know, like, what would happen in chess. Maybe chess dies off because it's too lame. Maybe nothing happens to chess because everyone's still on the same playing field of having to make their own pieces, and the beauty of chess is enough to make it worth doing and playing competitively. Either way, it's a weird appeal to emotion fallacy because the person stating this argument assumes that the person listening to it is going to have their opinion change because they go, yeah, that is kind of lame and it shouldn't be that way, therefore cheating is okay. But it also ignores that Pokemon is the only competitive esport game ever that defends cheating on this scale. Cheating is wrong, and no form of competition has ever succeeded because cheating is massively accepted. Since these cheats or hacks are used to make Pokemon with legitimate stats, it's arguably okay for players to hack in Pokemon. At no point anywhere in the article was a point made that actually, like, comes to this conclusion. They just think that by putting cheats in quotation, they can ignore all of the rules and then use their fallacies to be like, yep, see, I solved it. Cheating is okay. This hacking doesn't detract from the actual tactical play required of competitors during matches, nor does it give competitors a strategic advantage. It gives them a time advantage, it gives them a knowledge advantage, it gives them an experience advantage, it gives them a resource advantage. There's more advantages than just what happens in the game or just a strategic advantage. Also, that's not even correct because the cheating player has more time to develop strategy. Cheating being okay seems to be the commonly shared position, despite it being against the rules, and despite players being disqualified for cheating at the Pokemon World Championships, including the person that was interviewed, Brady Smith, also a regional champion, proving that cheating gives a massive advantage, which is why it's only cheaters winning these events, and almost exclusively cheaters qualifying for Pokemon Worlds. It would certainly save these competitors a lot of time. Many competitive players balance the hobby with other responsibilities, like full-time careers or having a family, and don't have time to devote to training all their teams by hand. That's never been an argument for any other form of competition. Olympic athletes aren't allowed to use steroids because they're also going to college or they have a part-time job to fund the incredible expenses of being an Olympic athlete. You're not allowed to use proxy Pokemon cards because your work-life balance can't afford it. And that's what makes elite competition so powerful. That if you are playing at the highest levels of competition and you're competing, especially on a world championship level, you need to sacrifice everything to achieve that. It's completely fair. If you don't like it, go find another form of competition you can participate in, but every single sport, esport, and competitive game demands work and sacrifice, and it's unfair to cheat to bypass all of that. If you can't follow the rules, you have no right to competition, and cheating is not a valid form of protest. A valid form of protest is abstaining from the events and being vocal that cheating is the only way competitive Pokemon can succeed or survive. If attendance goes down too much or competitive Pokemon becomes completely unsustainable, then action will need to be taken. Either official competitive Pokemon can't exist because the rules are terrible and then it completely folds, or the rules will have to change to make it to where it's more accessible in some kind of way, even though competitive Pokemon, even in its current state, is one of the most objectively accessible forms of competition. It takes less money and less time to get into Pokemon VGC than almost anything else. Being a professional athlete costs tens of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours of work, and you're not even guaranteed to make a living off of it at that point. And chess, someone thinks like, oh yeah, chess, you just buy a $10 board and then you look up some articles and do some practice games online, or you just use like a free chess program and then you can become a master and make tons of money. But no, if you actually want to be elite in chess, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and then tens of thousands of hours of work to be a grand master and perform at the highest levels of a game. For competitive Pokemon, it's a $250 console you already own that plays other games, and a $60 Pokemon game you already own and have been playing. And then a few hundred hours of work, and you're good to go. These are just brats that don't want to do any work because they can't win without cheating. As evidenced by the disqualifications at the 2023 World Championships, Pokemon Company has become increasingly stringent with enforcing its hacked Pokemon policy. And now they cite the official competitive rules. Again, it was all like poisoning the well to skew their bias, because yeah, they did start it off why it's okay that so many top Pokemon players cheat. I guess if you start off with the rules, you actually can't make any argument that it's okay, and you completely debunk your entire article. Players who are found to have hatched Pokemon will be disqualified from tournaments. Again, just kind of showing like all the dishonesty, further proving that it's cheating. However, enforcement has been irregular. Some of the players disqualified from Worlds made it through regional tournaments without issues, and the practice of generating Pokemon has been around for years. Yes, if you don't get detected, you don't get disqualified. If you get detected, you get disqualified. So what shows that cheaters got lazy and complacent, and the thing that they've been doing all these years that is wrong, because they know it's wrong, which is why they have to be dishonest and lie about not cheating. They finally got caught, and only now are we seeing the pro-cheating argument in the Pokemon community, because before it was, no one's cheating, you're just crazy, stop being stupid, also it wouldn't be a problem if people are cheating, but they're not cheating anyways, and now it's all of this defense about cheating. Regardless of how a person may feel on the matter, seems now it is best for players to avoid using hacked Pokemon when they can. No, you should always avoid using hacked Pokemon, because it's always been against the rules. And that's it, that's the end of the article. But all I can really say is, this is it. This is the pro-cheating crowd. They don't have any better arguments than this. I don't get it. Like, cheating is wrong. That's it. End of story.